Hey, what's up,
Hey.
everybody? How's it going, Mark?
That's going pretty good as we speak at the same time.
Yeah, well, I apologize for any live viewers. Just want to let you know we did have an emergency, so we are a little bit late, quite a bit late, almost an hour. So apologies about that for our live viewers. Unfortunately, this one was unavoidable and had nothing to do with the podcast or tech issues or anything like that, so I apologize. But we'll go ahead and get started. We've got a pretty big week in gaming, Mark.
It feels like that most weeks.
Yeah.
There's always some kind of news, especially it's fall. A lot of games are coming out and stuff like that, so there's always something to talk about.
Dude, there's more news in gaming. Look, let me see how you feel. There's more news in gaming every week than there is in anything else besides politics.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, to be real, the politics are 24/7, but the gaming news never stops.
No, because there's always games. There's always something coming out year round.
Whether it's positive, negative, we're getting insights into certain companies, antics.
Yeah.
And
no, I just want to say, because I know next week's the election, so hopefully at least some of the advertising nightmare goes away. The politics
oh my God, listen to this. Sherrod Brown fights for you. I get those stupid ads all the time.
But just because Mr. Coffee brought up, it's like, you're in the fall, so you're in the heat of football season right now.
Yeah, that's going on too.
Jets just won Thursday Night Football, and I don't really care for the Jets, but
yeah,
playoffs about to come up.
I don't care about NFL. I'll be honest with you. I just like NCAA.
Trash.
Cool. Trash. You watch NFL?
No, I follow it. I'm out of market for my team. I can't watch the Dolphins.
Oh my God.
Out here out west, that's an impossibility. I'm not paying that extra $100-some for what's it, NFL ticket? Ungodly amounts of money.
It's crazy. And people still go. That's the thing. Stadiums are still filled.
And man, in this economy, more power to you. I ain't doing it.
Yeah, no doubt. So this week we're going to be talking a little bit about actually, that is old and from last week, so I guess I can't really give you a sum of the episode.
No, I guess there's some stuff because we had some news about the Nintendo Music app. God forbid they give us anything about the Switch.
I downloaded it. I can speak on it a little bit.
Yeah, more than I have. Obviously, there's some more Pokemon leaks information that came out this week as well. Dragon Age just launched today, as well as we also had the demo for the. Oh, I just had it pulled up here in a second.
No, did Dragon? No, hold on. The Monster Hunter Wilds didn't launch. It's just a beta, right?
Yeah. So you had both the Dragon Age Veilguard launch this week, as far as the beta launch this week for the Monster Hunter Wilds, which I think is going from the 31st to the 4th. For a second, I got confused.
It's in the music app.
Yeah, and then I guess the last one, some Mortal Kombat, 1 information, just because you put that on the thumbnail as well.
Yeah,
and a whole host of other.
I didn't put Mortal Kombat 1 on the thumbnail.
You totally did.
That's
swear
not Mortal Kombat 1. That's from Dead by Daylight.
Well, because Mortal Kombat 1 had the reveal Ghostface, and it was the same where it was the same.
Oh, I'm an idiot. Yeah, I'm such an idiot. I did put that. You're right.
Yeah, and then a whole host of other stuff. Like we've had some more Xenoblade information coming out. I don't know if he's going to be in the chat right now. We actually had some Godzilla news drop this week. I think it was today or yesterday. So we at least have a small little thing that we can talk about it, and a whole host of other stuff. Of course, there's some minor Ubisoft because they can't just stay out of the spotlight for a week. Firewalk Studio closed. There's a whole host of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff, so looks like it's going to be a big episode. I guess we'll go ahead and get started. First, we got Shadows of the Damned Hella Remastered. You said this to me earlier in the week.
Yeah, that's why I pulled it up, because I found something on there, because I can't remember what it was. I think it may have been like Grums or something like that on X. Posted this in regards to, the Dragon Age drama and stuff that we'll get to later in the episode. But I swear you mentioned this was a game. I didn't even know this game existed before.
I loved this game.
Because we saw a clip where it was definitely because I think he made the comment like, "Oh, edgy games making a comeback," and the clip I saw definitely was edgy because it's essentially some half-naked chick that you eventually have to walk over to get from like one door to the other, something like that.
Yeah, but the thing is with this game, is there's no game like it exactly.
I never played the original. Do you know when this originally launched?
This
Because
came out
this
like
remaster
2011 maybe 2011. I'm just guessing here. Let me see.
Yeah, because this remaster, and I didn't realize it till I saw it like 2 days ago on Twitter X or something like that. This remastered actually launched on Halloween yesterday.
2011. Oh my god, I was right. 2011, June 21st, 2011.
It looks like that game. So this game's been out for like a day or something like that. It's sitting at a 85%.
Dude, I'm buying it.
Reviews on Steam.
I'm buying it.
Yeah, it's at least for Steam, because I don't know what other console it's going to be on. On Steam, it's $25.
If it's on a console, I'll buy it. I mean, not to say I don't want to play it on PC, but it's like I'm not gonna. Sorry, but I'm not gonna buy a PC game unless it's like a GOG or Steam deal. Like I'm just not.
It's $25. I mean, to be fair, you can
$25
controller support.
I'd rather pay $25 to play it on console though.
At that point, what's the difference?
Because I like console. I like collecting games.
I don't even know if this is a physical. If it's digital only,
it'll get it. It'll 100% get a physical, whether it's through limited run or limited print games or something. It'll get a physical. But I will say this game is awesome, and I will say I played it again in 2020, and the original version still holds up just as well. It holds up great. So to see that it's getting this remaster where it actually looks, I'm looking at actual gameplay footage, and it actually looks like a remaster.
Yeah, they actually put work. You can still tell the design and some other stuff. It's from that era, but it actually looks like it had a proper coat of paint put on it, where it doesn't just look like a cheap port of a game. It doesn't look like a 2011 game straight up. Yeah,
it doesn't. It looks really good. Is this something that you would play?
I mean, I'd seriously look into it for sure.
Yeah, it looks great. So, it looks like new content unique to the remaster, 4 all new costumes. Get dressed to the nines and kick some demon tail in style. After your first playthrough, carry over your progress in the New Game Plus and spend an eternity raising hell in the underworld. And
the one thing that makes this game, I would assume, a little harder for streaming.
But this is 𝐀𝐮𝐲, so they did No More Heroes, Killer 7, all that stuff. And then Shinji Mikami worked on it, who worked on Resident Evil and God Hand. All of those games are classics. All of those.
Oh, certified. But I just did want to put it out there for those that don't know. This is a mature content. The disclaimer they put on here: this game may contain content not appropriate for all ages, or may not be appropriate for viewing at work, not safe for work, essentially. Frequent violence or gore, depiction of suicide, nudity and sexual contents, use of alcohol, and general mature content is the actual description via the Steam page. So just
wow, this is the first game I've ever seen where it says that the recommended memory be 32 gigabytes of RAM.
On the system requirement, I see the recommended, it says 16 gigabytes of RAM.
Where are you looking at?
On the Steam system requirements.
I'm not on Steam.
Oh, okay. Because the recommended is what? Intel i5 6700.
Yeah,
16 gigabytes of RAM for the memory, the graphics, GTX 960 Ti, 2 gigabytes.
Bro, who's still using a 960 Ti?
Well, it just shows that this game doesn't need a lot of memory to run.
No, it definitely doesn't. Pretty much a potato can run this game, is what it's saying.
Yeah,
but no, it does say
game.
I do see memory 32 gigabytes RAM, but it does say processor. Intel Core i5 6700, AMD Ryzen 5 1500X. Maybe I'm seeing something different than you. Storage,
so your
5
computer
gigabytes.
Should be able to run this at max settings.
Yeah, for sure. So
my 1080 Ti, my 1060 Ti or 1070 Ti that I used to have could run this. I
can't even tell you the last time I heard somebody say 960 Ti. Jesus.
Hey.
There's somebody out there using it.
Oh, 100%.
But yeah, no, that's really, really cool. I'm really excited about this. This is a great, start of the podcast. Something I'm really looking forward to. Definitely has a real remaster treatment to it. So you can tell, like, it has obviously that aesthetic from 2011, but it looks better. Like the actual, both the story beats where it's in like showing a story part looks better.
Yeah.
But also the gameplay is where it shines. The gameplay really looks better. So I'm definitely excited. And I love to kick demon ass. Let me tell you, I play a lot of Doom.
Hey, all I'm gonna say is it's good. It's the design of the early 2010s, late 2000s, but the graphical fidelity of like 2015 to 2020 or something like that.
Yeah, I love who it says is hosting the podcast today. Thanks a lot.
Oh, you just have to
I
do that.
just saw that.
I put that earlier trying to get it right, and I think you were distracted.
No, I was distracted. All right, so we also got upcoming games 2024 for console and PC. So
yeah, I threw this in there. Obviously, we know the Dragon Age Veilguard dropped yesterday.
I'm so excited to play that game too. I literally cannot wait.
So did the Horizon Zero Dawn remastered. Both of those a little bit more in depth later and stuff like that, because of course there's drama with everything, even the remastered.
Yeah, of course.
But I brought this on here because obviously there's games coming out last 2 months of the year, the final stretch. Nothing really about December jumped out to me. Obviously, you got like Indiana Jones game coming out.
It's the month games go to die. Nobody releases stuff on this. I can't believe Indiana. But speaking of which, I've seen a few reports of people saying that Indiana Jones is great. Like I've seen 3 or 4 reports from separate people, separate entities, all saying the game is really good.
It doesn't have the best launch window of December.
Just doesn't have a good launch month, but that might be good for us because there's nothing coming out in December. So it's like, okay, then we could just focus on this game, get through this game. And it's like, I think a 15 to 20 hour game. So, I mean, like, that's not bad. That should get us through the month. I mean, and you like Indiana Jones, at least the old ones like me. And it's supposed to be centered around that Indiana Jones of like the Last Crusade and stuff like that, all the good stuff. So,
but I mean, obviously, to be fair, I thought it was funny that at least what stood out to me, I'm sure it's going to be similar with you. The only 2 major games that come out the rest of the year, and they come out in November, just both happen to be Switch games. So you have, to a lesser degree, Mario and Luigi Brothership, which comes out on the 7th, which is next week, actually.
Yeah, I'm grabbing that next week for sure.
And then the following week on the 14th is when we finally get the Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake.
Grabbing that right away too. I can't wait to play through that.
So I think Nintendo's got a decent lineup to close the year out.
Yeah, I will mention also because I'm also interested in Lego Horizon Adventures. Here's the reason I'm interested in that. I want to grab that on Switch because it's weird that a PlayStation property is being put on Switch. So it's kind of like a come full circle thing where it may never happen again. And like it could down the road end up being worth money. I don't care about that, but it's more the novelty of playing a PlayStation property on Nintendo.
Yeah.
So and I like the Lego games. I'm not like an Uber fan where I played them all, but I like them for what they are. And this is supposed to be the open world, most in-depth Lego game we've gotten yet.
Yeah, I think this has more to do with it just being a Lego related game.
Yeah.
And it's not a flagship, and I highly doubt they're expecting it to make a crap ton of money, but I doubt a lot of money went into it.
But
so
I also do want to mention in December, we actually do have a couple of good things. Fantasia Neo Dimension. We've talked about that. You said you were interested in it. That's
the name
a JRPG.
jump off the board to me.
Yeah, that's a JRPG that I'm for sure interested in. And then Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered. I'll definitely be getting that. I love the Legacy of Kain games. Absolute classics. But other than that, looking through here, I mean, you've also got Crosswired, Slitherhead, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024.
None of those
Life is Strange, Double Exposure. None of those mean anything to me necessarily, but yeah.
I guess we can move on to the
go ahead and move on.
First of the
pull up
controversial
a couple of things real quick.
So this was kind of apparently for those that actually care to some degree with this. Sweet Baby Inc. was partnering with what they call the POW group to continue pushing or continue doing their consulting business, which on its own doesn't mean a whole lot. Unless you're the Sweet Baby Inc. CEO, which hates attractive women, but has a thing for Bowser, apparently. It's weird. There's plenty of memes out there for it.
Oh, my gosh. There are like 15 podcasts live right now.
It's a Friday night. It is what it is. But I mean, this one really only means to people if they're looking as far as like consulting businesses. So I mean, it's another consulting business. The Powell Group essentially has the same intention that Sweet Baby does. Less well known, but ever since Sweet Baby came to light, it's put a lot of these consulting groups under scrutiny. Sweet Baby is just the most recognizable for a lot of people who don't like the ideology that these people tend to push in games and stuff like that. But
what is their ultimate goal? Let me ask you. What is Sweet Baby Inc.'s ultimate goal? What are they actually trying to do?
Inclusion in video games. It's as simple as that.
What does that even mean?
Straightforward. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Which is kind of redundant.
So that's what DEI is.
Redundant. Yeah, it's exactly what DEI stands for.
Okay, so I don't get it. I mean, here's my problem with it. You're talking about inclusion, but inclusion has always been in things. I mean, you think back to Pokemon, the animated series. You got Brock, who's a brown-skinned fella.
Yeah, so there's two ways you can look at this. One of the things is like you have to have XM. It's kind of like a two-pronged thing. Oh, you can't move a little bit. It's the forced you have to have so much of each thing. That way you emit like DEI and ESG and other stuff like that.
What's ESG mean?
I'm trying to pull this up. Environmental, social, and governance is what that stands for.
Okay.
It's kind of like a lateral for DEI and stuff like that. As far as you got to be like sustainable and look out for the future and stuff like that. That kind of crap. That's the way I look at it. But it's doing that to some degree. It looks good on paper to investors, and they try to advertise as, oh, we work with us, we're going to make your game look better, it's going to sell more people. Well, we charge you like $10 million on the side so we can also get rich.
I just learned that there's a DEI score for conglomerates.
Yeah, so there's like an ESG and stuff like that, which is supposed to be used for other corporations. And it's supposed to be good for advertisers, as much crap as it realistically is.
I heard the story today.
At the end of the day, while there's employees that believe in the left-wing ideology that's being pushed, because that's really where it stems from, regardless of what you actually view it on, this comes from the left side of the aisle politically, at least in the U.S. But a lot of this other things is these. To be fair, the heads of these companies, people actually making decision, a lot of them probably don't really care all that much. It's just being sold as a way of like, oh, you can broaden more people are going to buy your game. So you always have your core audience. Why advertise to them? But now you can market to a different audience and you're going to make more money. And that's kind of how it's sold. And while there's people in the studios that actually push this, at the end of the day, it's just seen at the highest level why they actually use them, because it's advertised as a way to be, oh, it's advertiser friendly. You're going to make more money. And money at the end of the day is really all that matters. That's why people say, hey, you don't like types of games. You speak with your wallet, not your voice, because at the end of the day, you can say you hate something all you want, but if the game still sells, there's no bite to your bark, essentially. If you want a type of thing to change in the game industry, you essentially need games to fail. That way you force a change, because financial failure is the only way you're really going to get anything to move forward.
Yeah, I guess
money,
I don't.
It's all money at the end of the day. It's just how you market it.
I guess I just don't understand why these companies feel the need to interject this stuff into video games and all of these mediums.
Oh, well, because there's people that believe this and want to push it, and it's getting sold in such a way of like, oh, you have to do this or it looks bad. Advertisers are going to pull out. You're going to lose money. They're using money in a fear of losing talent as a way to some degree kind of scare people into it, or that's what the head of Sweet Baby has kind of said in the past like that. But it's a mixture of the two things. Some people want it, and it's just being marketed in a way that's digestible and stuff like that to corporation heads and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just absolutely crazy. It looks like Mr. Coffee over there. He's not on the YouTube. He's on the Twitch. He said the main problem is once video games hits mainstream, people see ways to charge these companies a service because they are big and now are now run by executives who aren't gamers.
Yeah, and a lot of this also there's people that believe in it, but they also see it as a way to also make money, which is what these consulting businesses are. It's another way for people just to get rich doing, the bare minimum while also pushing a certain a message that they want to see, socially pushed forward and stuff like that.
And then I did want to mention, he also did correct me a little bit. This is a little different, I would say, than this. But he also did say that MLB The Show 22 and 24 came to Switch. I think it's a little bit different because those are like universal games, right? Those come to everything. Like they just always have. Or at least have for a while.
They're easier. Sports games usually are just easy and, they
like most people don't even know it's a Sony property. You know what I mean? People don't even know that. But Horizon is like solely a Sony property.
Yeah, it's more recognized. Most people see sports game, they just think, oh, it's some generic crap, which it usually is.
Yeah, almost always.
But I guess moving on, just because I didn't want to, mixing the good with the bad, but negative news sells, so there always seems to be more negative stuff. And I don't know this guy, but apparently the epic fantasy author, because that's kind of what he actually does. John A. Douglas came out and at least that Park Place says that he trashes the Lord of the Rings, the War of the Rohirrim movie, or apparently there was an origin book pushed before the movie for the main heroine Hera. So essentially it was a companion book for the film, which was released, provides an origin for Hera and stuff like that. But he came out and where's it at? That they have it posted he apparently is the author of the book The Black Crown. Never read it, don't know anything about this guy,
don't care.
He's written and published more books than I have, so I'll give him that much. But he essentially came out and said,
hey Mark, how many have you published?
That's a fat 0. But he essentially came out and says some art for the War of the Rohirrim companion book got released, and when he said yeesh, this is like word for word from his Twitter, he said that might be the most cliched "she's not like other girls" origin I've ever read. Basic B girl boss.
Bear with me, guys. Give me just a second while Mark's talking.
Yeah, romantically, lead character energy just bleeds Tolkien, doesn't it? At least when he wrote 𝐀𝐮𝐢𝐤 arc, it was novel at the time. So some criticisms. Don't know exactly how this is gonna turn out because this was a movie I'm looking forward to, which for some of the people involved, as well as hoping it's not Ring of Power bad, because I didn't care for it. I actually kind of hated it, to be honest. I think it butchers what Tolkien does, and I think Tolkien is he knows what he's doing as far as, or when he did, because he passed away a while ago. He knew how to actually write proper characters, and at least for me, some of the books that I've read, I don't know, maybe it's just me. For me, it's hard to find an author that actually sits with me, but I think that's less of a writing thing, just more of what I prefer to read to some degree with some books. I used to read a lot more books when I was younger and in high school and stuff like that. I don't read a whole lot now. It's boring. It's lazy. I'd rather watch a video. But it's criticisms. He's not the biggest, author in the world. I'm still going to hold out hope that the movie's decent. At the very least, it's just, it's serviceable to some degree. It doesn't feel like Lord of the Rings story. Yeah, I guess that's part of the problem. Outside of the original movie trilogies we got, everything else has kind of been subpar as far as adapting a really good, well-written story. Because even the Hobbit movies I thought were largely crap. Not complete terrible, but it's not at the same level that the original Lord of the Rings trilogy was. And I do think it should have been like one 3.5 hour long movie, which would have covered, the majority of the book, and it would have been fine. They wanted to make a lot of money, so they made it, 3 whole movies and stuff like that, which I thought wholesale was unnecessary. Ooh, I know Brandon's doing something, trying to refresh something on my end. Mr. Coffee, R.A. Salvatore. I'm not sure what that's. Oh, check out the Thousand Orcs trilogy by R.A. Salvatore. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Hoping Brandon comes back in a second. I don't know what he's doing. But I guess we can move on. It was just something small, but I still plan on definitely going. I don't know what you all plan on doing. I still plan on going and seeing the movie and hoping it's at least the Hobbit level serviceable as far as the movie goes. Because at least that I can stomach. Ring of Power level crap, I would walk out of the theater instantly. But that's just a me thing. But no, back into some actual decent game news that got announced this week. We are actually getting a Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition.
Woohoo! Hey, what's up, Intellivision Gamer? It's funny, I literally had just liked your new cover page.
No, that's definitely always good. I was trying to make sure I pulled up. Yeah, so I as far as brand, there's these two things are next to each other. So we got this announced, but like all things, there's controversy around this game. So the main controversy around this game is this is remastering, and this is the worldwide release. It's remastering the US version of the Wii U game, not the Japanese version. And the Japanese this time around are getting the US version of this game. And apparently back when this game originally launched, I guess the rest of the world and the Japan version got were two separate versions of this game. I don't know how much level of what you would call censorship was actually changed. But there's the criticism that they're not adapting what people wanted, which was the Japanese version of this game. But I mean, outside of that, I assume it was still mostly well received. I have a Wii U. I have no Wii U games. I didn't play this game when it launched, but I'm still looking forward to playing the game and hoping, for the most part, it's decent. I don't know if you've heard anything about it or you know anything about the drama back then.
As far as Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Yeah, because obviously there's differences between the US and the Japanese version, and the definitive edition is the US version that everybody's getting. They're not doing different versions for like the US and Japan this time around.
Yeah, so I didn't know that there was different versions, so that was news to me. So I looked a little bit into it. It doesn't seem like the changes are
major,
but it's in the dialogue. It's in the interaction with characters.
Subtle changes that people don't
like
think
I saw a side by side for an image of a cat, for instance, right? And you saw this showed the remastered version, and then it showed the Wii U version in Japanese, but it was translated. It was so minimal to me. Like what was said, it wasn't. I mean, I'm sure that there's other interactions in the game where it makes more sense with the Japanese text, and it was like, hey, let's dumb it down for the American audience. But to be honest with you, this is one of those cases where I don't think it's that extreme. Like, to me, it's not that big of a deal.
But at large, it doesn't change a whole lot. And then
it doesn't.
The Life website, of like the 4,200 people that voted on it, like 53% says this is like a day one like purchase.
Dude,
when it comes out.
Okay, so let me put it this way. This is my favorite Xenoblade Chronicles game for sure, bar none. I wasn't sure if it was ever going to come to Switch. We're at the end of the life cycle, and it's finally come to Switch.
My
Wii U is hooked up for Xenoblade Chronicles X, for like Nintendo Land, for like a couple of the exclusives, right? Because I play Nintendo Land with my daughter. She loves it. She loves Nintendo Land. It's so much fun. The reason it makes no sense that we haven't gotten a Nintendo Land 2 or a version. I mean, like you played Nintendo Land, right?
I don't think
it was like the big title.
I played Farmland Land on the DS.
Oh my god, it's not the same thing at all. So Nintendo Land is like this amusement park game where you get to play through all of the different. You get to play as a Metroid game, so you get to play and fight Metroids as Samus. You get to play as Link. In one of the mini games, you get to play a Luigi's Mansion game. There's more. I can't remember, but there's a Mario Chase one that's just super fun. I mean, like more fun than it should be. It's so much fun. But I never thought that this would come to Switch. I never did. I've got like 800 hours in Xenoblade Chronicles X. I love the game. It's bar none for me the best Xenoblade Chronicles game.
Yeah, because this is the last one that hasn't come to Switch.
It's the last
1, 2, and 3. I have all 3 of those on the Switch.
Yeah, we've got one definitive edition on Switch. I mean, we've got the only thing I haven't played is the Torna DLC that you can get packed into the game. It's just very expensive. It's like $100 now.
Yeah.
But if you get Xenoblade Chronicles 2 plus Torna, I'm sorry, I just don't want to shell out $100 for it. Now, if I saw it for like 80 or something, like maybe I would grab it, but I haven't played the Torna DLC, which apparently is better than the base game. So I will say that.
Oh yeah, fair
Have
enough.
you played? Have you played Xenoblade Chronicles at all?
I played the first one and I played like an hour of it. I need to go. I want to go back because I have
It's
all
so
3,
fun.
but I haven't played 2 and 3. It's just one of those ever-growing shelf of games that kind of sit and I was like, I need to get around to playing that game eventually.
Well, what's crazy is I played Xenoblade Chronicles. So here's a crazy thing. I played Xenoblade Chronicles on the Wii, and then proceeded to play it on the 3DS when it was a new 3DS title. It was one of like 10 new 3DS games. So I replayed it then, and then I replayed the definitive edition on Switch. I played that game 3 times. And I will say, when it comes to nostalgia, my memories of playing it on the Wii are greater than any of the other times I played it, because it was just like this experience on the Wii that was unlike any other games we were getting on the Wii. Like Xenoblade Chronicles, so different, and it was not like something you would expect to come to the Wii. Yeah. You know what I mean? It just wasn't. And of course, I had to play it with the classic controller Pro. Wasn't using the nunchuck to control around, but I mean, not the nunchuck, but like the Wiimote. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely excited for this for sure.
Yeah, and then it's not like you have a long wait for this game. So this game comes out on the 20th of March next year. And they also said it's going to have enhanced visuals, added story elements, and more when it arrives. I don't know exactly what that means. So outside of a new coat of paint, I don't know what they mean by the added story elements. But I mean, I guess we'll wait and see.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with any luck, this game will come out right before the Switch 2 does. But we're in November and still no announcement as far as when they're even going to decide to announce, their next console. So that seems, I've seen some good memes as far as that goes of like, oh my God, when are we getting the next just like announcement for the Switch? Just people like salivating.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like they're just dragging this out for as long as possible. Where's the next one? Oh, yes. We did get some small little information as far as what's going on with the next Godzilla film. But essentially, Toho came out and said the director, Takashi Yamazaki from Godzilla -1 will be directing the next Toho Godzilla film.
Let me ask you, what the heck does this have to do with video games?
It doesn't, but it's Godzilla stuff, and we have people that love to hear it, and I was a big fan of it. For a while there, it felt like we were constantly talking about Godzilla for like 2 months
6-7 podcasts in a row. No, I'm happy about this. What's your thoughts on it?
I think it's good because I think he did a really good job with this film. I guess my only question is because all we got was essentially, because it's this month. If you're able to, if you have a theater, you're able to rewatch the -1 in theaters with added content. But I think they did a really, really good job with this film. And I really, it's one of the few Godzilla films where there's actually well-written characters. You're just not waiting for the monsters to show up. But I guess at this point, it's because it's probably going to be a few years at this point. The movie just came out like this time last year. So if anything, this movie's in early pre-production, where they don't even have like a script.
I think they're probably past that. If you look at the Godzilla cycle of movies, I feel like they were already working on the other movie before this one even came out. That was the plan
all along, and they just came out and announced it. So at best, they have a storyboard, and they're currently working on an actual script. I'd say at best another 2-3 years, I would say, before another film would come out.
I wouldn't even give it that far. I would say by 2026, we see it.
I'd say a minimum 2 years.
Early 2026. That's what I think.
I guess only time will tell. But then the only thing is, are we going to get a sequel to -1? Or is it going to be a whole
100%? 100%. They're not letting that go. The hype train for that is real.
It's been announced, so I guess there's technically like a small spoiler. It kind of showed, and I give everyone enough time to mute or something real quick before I spoil the very ending at the cutscene.
Everybody mute if you have not watched Godzilla -1. Warning: if you are an audio listener, skip ahead. How long, Mark?
It should be a few seconds or something like that.
Skip ahead 1 minute.
Be better safe than sorry. I don't know how long we're going to talk, but at the very end of the credits, it shows that, Godzilla is essentially regenerating. You remember that cutscene when you saw the end of the movie?
Yeah.
So and that just might be a thing they wanted to do with no intention for a sequel, but it opens up the possibility that they want to come back to this version of Godzilla in the future, kind of like the original Godzilla or some of the other variants where he was an actual villain. They got rid of him, but obviously he just kind of comes back type thing. So I saw that. So I was like, there's a possibility they intentionally left the door open for a sequel with this specific Godzilla.
What?
But whether they bring back the same characters or do something different, it's, in the future to some degree, who knows?
I 100% think they're bringing on a villain into this next Godzilla. And I think it's going to be probably, let me make sure just so I'm not saying the name wrong.
I guess I'll bring it up because Mr. Coffee brought up, potentially Jet Jaguar coming in, but
no, he's not going to come in. This is too serious.
Not with this Godzilla specifically.
Ebera is the one that I see coming in, which is
how do you spell that?
Ebera, which is the lobster type monster. 𝐸𝐵IRA. The reason that I think this is because it seems like it's a smaller monster. It's on the smaller scale of kaiju, and it's a more realistic one that could be coming from the ocean.
But does that fit with this version of Godzilla where he's more like the not the anti-hero, but just a straight up like
it
just
does and doesn't, because they could continue on with Godzilla just being a menace, but after 3 or 4 films, people are going to get tired of that, and that's why they started introducing kaiju earlier on, in the early films, because people got over the fact, like by the first movie, you're already over the fact of, oh, Godzilla is a menace, he's taking down everything, it's just him. Like, you can't do that for like 5 films in a row. Like, you can't just have Godzilla be the menace, be the only menace.
I can't remember. Was the Showa era the original era for Godzilla, or is that the second era of Godzilla?
The Showa era is let me just double check. I think it's the first.
Because I was just double checking. Ebera originally came out in the 1966 film Ebera Horror of the Deep, but that's the Showa era.
Yes, Showa era.
Godzilla.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if that was the
Showa era is the first.
More villain or destructive force of Godzilla, or that's more where he started to become like the hero or anti-hero.
Yeah, this is Showa era. So this is when they started introducing stuff like Mothra, Ebera, what is the one monster called? I think he's called just Monster of the Deep or something. Monster Biollante.
Okay, because I guess there's a lot of Godzilla films that I haven't seen, but I guess if you could still make this work, but Godzilla's still just being,
because he's like a small
force
menace
to be reckoned with.
Do you know what I mean? Like, he's a menace, but he's a smaller menace. Ebera was introduced relatively early on in the Showa era.
It has to be. I haven't seen. I need to go back and watch this film. I don't remember watching
He's also in the Heisei era, the Millennium era. Like, makes an appearance in all of them.
Okay.
So,
according to the Wikizilla, he shows up in the Showa, Millennium, and Reiwa era.
I thought he was in the Heisei too, but maybe I was wrong.
Ebera, Horrors of the Deep, All Monsters Attack, Final Wars, and 𝐁𝐫𝐴.
𝐁𝐫𝐴.
It's a Reiwa era film, according to the Wikizilla.
The heck is 𝐁𝐫𝐴?
Let's try to pull it
I've
up.
never heard of that in my life. But anyway,
this is according to the Wikizilla. So 𝐁𝐫𝐴, apparently in this, it's a monster puppet show. So Ebera played a friendly game of beach volleyball with Godzilla-kun.
I was about to say, bro, what are you talking about?
This is a puppet show, apparently. That's why I was confused about it.
Yeah, I've never heard of that one. But
yeah, so this apparently there was 4 different seasons from 2019 to 2023 for this puppet show.
So I have $140 action figure of Ebera. It was like $140. Yeah, no, Ebera is a cool monster, but he gets kind of undercut as just being a giant, like shrimp like monster essentially. He's like a shrimp, crab, lobster crossover. Like, obviously he's a monster, so it's whatever they want him to be. But he's got like the tail of a shrimp. He's got like the front of like a crab or a lobster. Or he's got like the tentacles of a lobster, but he's got the hands of a crab.
Yeah. Because I pulled up an image. Do you know what film this is from? Because it's an image where it's Ebera, but it's both Mothra and Godzilla like pulling on it from 2 ends.
Let me see.
Or that just from an advertising for like one of the films.
So Godzilla Island. Monster
it popped up on the Wikizilla. It's like, a map of 𝐿𝐻𝐸 Island or something like that.
Let me look here, see if I can figure out. Godzilla versus Sea Monster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Apparently, what this monster's from that legend?
Yeah, because it shows Mothra,
this.
Abra, and Godzilla. Yeah, so that when I was saying earlier the sea monster thing, that's what I was thinking about. But, yeah, there's so many Godzilla films, but there so many of them are also very good, you know. So I had Godzilla vs. Sea Monster on VHS back in the day, and I had Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 1 and 2 on VHS, and there were so many that I had on VHS, and that's how I watched them all, and I just watched them over and over and over again. Have you ever heard of 𝐀𝐮𝐤 Monster from the Deep?
No, I didn't.
Please look it up.
No, I definitely will.
𝐀𝐮𝐤 Monster from the Deep. It's hilarious. So for any of our listeners here, he says, well, that's why Godzilla movies came out every 5 years apart or longer, and that was the only form of content. And some movies and toys, so back in the days, it was okay. Jet Jaguar needs to be in it. I like, look, hey, regardless of the hate the Jet Jaguar gets, I like Jet Jaguar. And you got to remember, he was designed by a kid. It was from a contest. The kid designed him, and they brought him to real life. Like, how often does that happen? You know?
Not very often. But I guess I did want to shout out. Like, if you still want to go see this, I don't know how long it's going to be, but starting today in certain theaters, minus one, or Godzilla -0 was coming back into theaters. So if you have the chance to rewatch it this weekend, go ahead and check it out.
Yeah, I don't recommend.
I definitely think it's worth the film. We brought that up because back in August, I pre-ordered the Godzilla -1 limited edition steelbook.
Still haven't got yours either.
HD. It's expected to arrive on the 19th of this month.
I don't have even checked my tracking, so yeah.
I remember seeing something about like, oh, you actually have like an arrival date and stuff like that. So I guess around Thanksgiving, if I get that, definitely, I just have to do a whole video on that one.
Dude, yes, please. Yeah.
Not a whole lot of Godzilla content, but
I actually think that fits on the Game Junction channel because we got so many Godzilla fans that follow us here now because we talk about it so much.
Not a whole lot of content all the time to talk about it, but when there's a chance, I'll bring it up when it's relevant.
Yeah, for sure. We can't do it when people are getting mad and upset that we're not talking about it.
It's not always,
when there's nothing to
to
talk about.
I think for this podcast and stuff like that, but I saw it and I was like, I'm immediately grabbing this.
Yeah, that's.
But I did see that 𝐀𝐮𝐤. It's sitting at what, like 15% from the critics on Rotten Tomatoes.
I'll tell you what though, I like these old cheesy monster films.
Is 15%.
I like this stuff though. I like these old cheesy monster films that, most of them are reviewed bad because they're monster flicks. I mean, if you look back, most of the Godzilla films are reviewed bad. So I mean, that's just the case. Most of the Godzilla films are not reviewed good. People they just don't like monster films with people in rubble suits. I don't know what the deal is. There's always
a charm with that.
There is a charm with it, but not to the critics. Roger Ebert, I remember him talking down to some Godzilla movie that he watched. I forget what it was, but Roger Ebert, you know what? I know the guy's dead. I'm being respectful or whatever, but I'm sorry. With your reviews, just because you don't like something, you're keeping millions of people, because he was the guy, right? For movie reviews, he was the guy. You're keeping millions of people from watching these movies that they might like.
Just because you didn't like a certain type of film doesn't mean other people won't.
I'm sorry, roll over in your grave, whatever, but it's just like, I don't agree with that. I'm sorry. There were so many movies I watched that Roger Ebert, reviewed badly.
Like, not every film needs to be this serious, on par, film. Like, you can have cheesy fun. It can be cheesy and technically be critically bad, but it can still be an enjoyable time of a film. That's what a lot of kaiju films were and still are, for the most part. Like, I do like a serious Godzilla film, but I also like the old cheesy ones because it's just, an hour and a half of fun, 90 minutes of fun.
I picked up 3 Godzilla things, and they're not in this room. I did. Over here, a few pickups. Hopefully you got a few pickups, Joe, but I got a few pickups over here. I do not have the Godzilla stuff with me. They're in another room, so I'll show them next week. But Mark picked up that puzzle. I picked it up too. But I sent you did I send you that big, gigantic Funko Pop set where it had the background? It had the background of the movie poster with Mothra and Godzilla. Dude, oh my God.
Yeah, you did.
I don't like Funko Pops, but this is beautiful. This is a beautiful set if you're a Godzilla fan. So I didn't get it there, but I did find it on Mercari for like $20 less, brand new. So I ordered it. I had to. That's still on the way. But I'm like, you know what? I don't even care. I'm redoing this background. I'm working on it. I've got this side painted over here that you can't see. But I'm going to set up a little, basically kind of have like a little shrine behind me of gaming stuff, but also like Godzilla stuff and some other things that I like. Because I want to showcase all the stuff I like. Throw a few anime things back there. Throw a few Godzilla things back there. Obviously, gaming's going to be most of it, but yeah, I like sharing my passions, man. I like sharing my passions, and I'm passionate about Godzilla, so.
It's always a good time.
I will tell you this, though.
Get more films.
I don't recommend not getting into it because it's really cool. It's one of the funnest things to collect ever. But if you get into collecting Godzilla stuff, expect to spend some moolah if you want to get the good stuff.
Yeah, that's about how a lot of things go, especially like I guess it's
Godzilla is a very
Gunpla
expensive
like
hobby. Very expensive hobby.
Yeah. But I guess Gunpla is a little different because it's the easier sets are not as detailed, but it's easier to get into it. And then the detailed stuff that's more expensive.
Yeah, like the monster art stuff where you're looking at like $200-$300 for the figures, which are beautiful.
Yeah, but like with the Gunpla, it's just the complexity of just having to put them together and build them. The nicer, more expensive ones, but
like the Millennium ones or whatever they call them, Millennium series or the Gold series.
No, I don't think it's. I think it's the Gold might be one. I don't have it pulled up the top of my head.
They get very expensive. We looked it up.
Ago.
They were in the thousands of dollars for some of them.
Some of the higher end kits require you to actually have extra tools. It's not just snap together. It's like you need actual proper tools and stuff like that to make it look nice, clean it up, and stuff like that. But it's the same thing. A lot of stuff gets expensive. Just collecting PVC figures can get really expensive.
Yeah, nobody collects PVC figures.
I mean, you say that,
except Mark. Just kidding.
Yeah, whatever.
All right. So what do we got next? We got
a short little thing from Ubisoft. Kind of like the other stuff. I didn't want to like linger on this too much, but apparently from the CEO 𝐒𝐨 𝐕𝐞𝐫𝐬𝐢𝐚 essentially came out and confirmed that the Assassin's Creed Shadows delay is costing the company an extra 20 million euro, which is a lot of money.
Oh boy.
And we don't know how much they're going to change or what they're going to do with the game, but I mean that's a significant added, number to tack onto it that you need to make back with this game.
One thing that I will say in a positive light for this game, the game looks beautiful.
Yeah.
It looks really good. Am I buying it? No. If I find it for $15, yes.
Yeah, so 20 million euros is about 21.7 million USD.
Like
pretty much the same amount.
I'm so upset because this game has so much potential, but it's all the headlines surrounding it and all the controversies with it that really ruined it.
That's what's hurting AAA games as a whole.
Like this had so much potential. I mean, a samurai game that's right up my alley. Like that's something I want to play.
But now, you've got other samurai games that have come out. You've got the Ghost of Tsushima, you've got the Ghost of Yotei and stuff like that.
Last Ronin came out that people just look over for some reason. That's a great game.
Then again, it's not like they're there's controversy around a lot of stuff these days. If it's not,
but I mean, now I'm seeing controversy. Now look, I think this one I will say, I think people are just pulling it out of their ass as far as the Ghost of Yotei stuff. Look, just because there's a female lead does not mean that there's something going on there. That doesn't.
No, there's two things I've noticed. One, people just see that and they make assumption off of where AAA has been of like, oh, I see where this is going. They're jumping to conclusions.
Nobody did with the Echoes of Wisdom. No, nobody batted an eye.
Oh, because Nintendo doesn't have that bad will like the greater AAA industry as a whole does.
I don't think that just because of the narrative of everything else, because there's a female lead. I like female lead.
No.
You played Stellar Blade, female lead.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, I think
Metroid, female lead.
I believe, and I don't believe, I think this really is the driving factor with that game, is it's the lead voice actress herself that's driving a lot of controversy.
What's the problem?
About I don't have it pulled up in front of me because she's one. It's like she's a social activist and stuff like that with the shaved head, or she may be going by non-binary or whatever pronouns or something like that in her bio. But
that's the voice.
She definitely leans to that persuasion.
Actress. That's not the game.
people assume that, oh, if you're hiring this person, their ideology is going to bleed into the game because you've seen it to some degree before with some of these studios. Obviously, we don't know. We just got a CG trailer. The game still has, you know, decent amount of work before we actually get a gameplay.
Unless
but
something comes out crazy about Ghost of Tsushima, I'm playing it. I loved Ghost of Tsushima.
No, I was going to say it the same way. Though I think there's legit criticism. Like I understand where people's criticism comes for, and yeah, to some degree, I felt like that to some degree. But I was like, I'm willing, based off the first game, I'm willing to give this a shot and actually play the game because I think they can actually play a decent game. But I get where people, because it's hard. There's this thing of like separating the art from the artist, but to some people, it's gotten harder over time for that to be a legit thing.
Yeah, I can still do that, no problem. I can do that. I have that separation. I'm able to do that.
At least there's a lot of vocal people that are at that point where it's like they just associate and like, I don't agree with you at all, so I don't want to buy anything from you at all.
But isn't that kind of a toxic attitude? Isn't that a little gross?
Yeah, I would say. But I mean, the whole games industry has kind of gotten toxic over the last 10 years.
It has, and I'm not defending that at all. I'm just saying unless something major comes out for Ghost of Tsushima, I'm playing that game day one. I am so excited to have a new Ghost of Tsushima. And you know what? Like, when it comes down to like female leads in games, which there's been tons. I mean, you look at Perfect Dark Zero, Metroid. I mean, there's so many female led games that I love, and that has nothing to do with. I don't care about that. I don't care if it's a male or female character, as long as the game's good. That's how I feel.
But it's also the internet, and the internet loves. There's always going to be somebody complaining about something.
No, X loves that.
It's also a really popular app, so it drives a lot of attention to a lot of stuff.
But I think the general consensus overall is not the case.
I'll
with
say
Ghost
this,
of Tsushima being a problem.
It's the same thing with the previous game. Like, if you have a problem with the voice actress, then just play the game in Japanese. Because these voice actors, these other people, they've already been paid. Like, the money's already made. The studio's already put it out there. So I don't want to support this person or this developer, this voice actor. It's like, oh, they've already been paid. Whatever you do or don't isn't going to affect that one person.
Does not matter one bit.
The best thing I've seen is like if you don't like this person and you don't care about her, regardless of how well she does the voice, then just play it in a different language that's there. Play it in the Japanese language, and then just kind of move forward. But like
I'm so upset about Assassin's Creed Shadows because I don't care about Assassin's Creed as a whole, but the setting of it is everything I want. I mean, I love the samurai setting. I love playing games that are set in feudal
feels
Japan.
Like they fumbled the bag with pointless controversy that probably could have been avoided by just, regardless of what you want to say about Yasuke.
Because we probably both would have played that game. That would have been right up our radar.
If Yasuke had been a Japanese male, there would be no controversy. The game wouldn't have been delayed. It probably would have still been a buggy mess at launch because it's Ubisoft. But this controversy would have been mostly a non-existent issue for them.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. It's such a bummer because I want to play that game, but with all the stuff that's came out about it, I just can't. I don't have it in me to do it. That's just how I feel about it. So, we also got No Rest for the Wicked developer predicts AAA.
You hopped.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I just want to check because this news came out and we talked about it. And
this is big news.
Hard, but the Concord developer, the Firewalk Studios, officially was getting shuttered. That announcement came out this week.
We
which was
predicted
not a
this a while ago.
This was, and it is what it is. We've already talked about it. It's just I'm surprised it took them this long to officially make the decision because a week or two ago they could like, oh, is Concord coming back? And then the studio gets axed. You're like, oh yeah, that was wishful thinking.
It wasn't just Firewalks that got shut down though.
That was the big news. Was another one I'm missing?
Yeah, there were 2 studios that got shut down. I'm trying to find it. See if I can find it on X. Sony shut down 2 studios at the same time.
But you're probably right. I just think the Firewalk Studios just sucked all the oxygen out of the announcement.
No, I think so too. But yeah, they did shut down another studio.
Because Concord was a spectacular failure. There is no way you were getting out of this unscathed.
Oh, okay. They closed down Neon Koi as well. So Neon Koi and Firewalk Studios got shut down.
Do we know what they worked on?
I don't. I'm gonna look up.
It's a German studio.
I want to look it up real quick.
Yeah, I was trying to I didn't know, but I don't know what game they worked on.
𝐁𝐫𝐤𝐢𝐨. Let's see. Go on their website.
It
Looks like they're based out of Finland and Germany.
Yes, it was founded in 2020.
Culture. This is just a stupid website. Hold on, let me see.
It says, according to the
I found some stuff.
Wiki,
yeah, that's what I'm on.
It's founded in 2020. In 2022, it was acquired by Sony as the founding member of the PlayStation Studios mobile division and renamed 𝐁𝐲 in 2023. So it just felt like they just bought them and didn't do anything with them.
It says the studio was revealed to be working on a AAA live service action title. So that's probably why they got shut down, because studios Sony's like, oh, live service like this isn't working. Let's not put another Concord out by Neon Koi.
And it was just kind of like, well, we need to save money. You're a studio we haven't done anything with. We don't need you anymore. Get the axe.
Yeah, I will say this. I want to read the tweet that Firewalk Studios put out, because it's kind of like, look, not all of it's their fault. Obviously, like, they were working on the game, but there were shifts in developments. That's been confirmed, that it was scrapped, restarted, shifts in development, and there were leadership issues. So a bunch of people that were working for Firewalk Studios came out and made public statements as to why the game turned out the way that it did. And like, they had an original premise for the game that was nowhere near what the game ended up being. So
it's the heads of the studio that made the decisions and pushed it a certain way.
This is a little long, but let me just read this real quick. This is Firewalk Studios' last tweet. It says, Firewalk is signing off one last time. Firewalk began with the idea of bringing the joy of multiplayer to a larger audience. Along the way, we assembled an incredible team who were able to navigate growing a new startup and a team during a global pandemic. Firewalk was founded in 2018 and was very small for its first couple of years, only entering full production in 2022. Then next is build a new customized next generation FPS engine in Unreal 4 and then 5, delivering top tier gameplay, feel, beautiful worlds, and a performant 60 frames per second technical experience on a stable and scalable back end on PS5 and PC to hundreds of thousands of players in our beta. Also says manage an acquisition integration while readying technical and preliminary tests. Next, it says an ultimate ship and deliver a great FPS experience to players, even if it landed much more narrowly than hoped against a heavily consolidated market. We took some risks along the way, marrying aspects of card battlers and fighting games with first-person shooters. And although some of these and other aspects of the IP didn't land as we hoped, the idea of putting new things in the world is critical to pushing the medium forward. The talent at Firewalk and the level of individual craft is truly first class, and teams within Sony Interactive Entertainment and across the industry will be fortunate to work with them. Please reach out to recruiting at PlayStation for inquiries. Thank you to all the very many teams, partners, and fans who support us along the way. See you in the Tempest, Firewalk Studios, and Transmission. So
I think it's really simple. Your game failed because it was a bad game and in an already saturated market, and it came out like 5 years too late.
Yeah, one thing I thought was kind of funny, I rarely look at X comments, but somebody put, in quotations, hundreds of thousands of players in our beta, and somebody put LOL, okay, all-time peak, 2,388.
Literally nobody had any interest in a $40 game where there's already free-to-play games that have established communities. The better part of a decade at this point.
I will say that model makes sense if there's no microtransactions. Like, if you get the game as a whole and you don't have to pay for anything else.
But there's always going to be microtransactions in this game.
But were there microtransactions in the beta?
Well, no, it's a beta. You're not going to have any access to any of that stuff.
I mean, do we know that there are going to be microtransactions when it's a free-to-play game at the core, but instead of making it free-to-play, you buy it all in one bundle, and you get everything?
So
that was like the concept.
$70 games, single-player games with microtransactions in them. Sony's not above that.
I will say this, it sucks when people lose their jobs. It does suck. So I will say, I hope everybody lands on their feet. We also just got word that GameStop shuttered a ton of employees. So same for them. You know, I hope they land on their feet. I know we probably don't have that in the notes, but yeah, they just laid off a ton of employees, like a lot, which was bound to happen if GameStop doesn't change their ways and focus on retro and all games.
I think they're trying. The problem
They're
is if you're trying to make a
trying, but
big
they're not trying
change-
hard enough.
The problem is it's hard to make a change with a company that big. Like you need time to move left.
I
and
mean,
right
they
to see what
tried to
actually
do
works.
crypto. They tried to do not crypto, but the things that you could buy. What's it called? Like that you can NFTs. They tried to do NFTs. Like they
was a
tried
good idea.
everything, right? Like they were like, "Oh, let's jump on the NFT," you know. And then everybody was talking about GameStop stonks and you know all the stuff that was happening then, and
Oh, that's like more of a meme.
more of a meme. But people were, you know, it was a real thing. I know people that were really investing in the GameStop
Yeah.
for real.
I mean, only time will really tell.
But I
ultimately
will
whether they
say
can
this.
legit right the ship.
Not to bring it back to Godzilla, but this is trending on Twitter right now. A new Godzilla movie has been greenlit. So this is
Well, I assume that was in the
a
relations like,
sequel
hey,
to Godzilla -1.
well, because when we talked about that, it's like, hey, the director is going to be put in
Oh.
charge of the next film. So I
The
thought it was kind
director
of,
actually speaks on Twitter on the Godzilla. So if you want to check it out, if you're able to. Hello,
I'll have to check it
everyone.
out
I have
later.
wonderful news. I'll be directing the new Godzilla film. Please stay tuned. And that's all he had to say. But it was like a little clip
Yeah.
on the Godzilla socials. Oh, is that what we talked about earlier?
Yeah, it's what we were
Oh
talking
my
about.
God, I'm sorry.
we went-
I
we
missed
went
over
really
that part
quickly
of it because I
into
was
other
trying to get a
stuff.
post up. I apologize. Okay, so
like,
yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
really
no,
cool.
we just talked about that.
Yeah, sorry guys, a little embarrassing. GameStop has had a lot of time, Mr. Coffee said. Yeah, they have. They've had for sure. They have
But
for
the
sure.
leadership changed. That's the thing. How long
Yeah.
has the Nintendo of America president been with them? I'm
A
blanking on
long
his name.
time.
I thought it's been like a year or two at this point.
It's been
it been
a
longer than that?
while. About 2 years roughly. Yeah. Yeah,
No,
I'll
I think
double
he was
check.
more like an executive, so it's not like he can like snap his fingers, but
Yeah, let me check.
definitely worth looking out before we move on to the next topic.
Yeah, so Shintaro Furukawa. Let's see how long he's been. He's the 6th and current president of the video game company. He took over in the company in June 2018, so it's actually been a while. So we're looking at 6 years.
It didn't seem that long.
It
at that
doesn't seem
point,
like
so,
that
yeah.
long. I'll tell you what, man. I miss Iwata. I really do. I do think about that often. I miss Iwata.
It was a really good.
He was
he probably would've-
one of the best.
yeah.
He was one of the best. I mean, I legitimately do think about how much
I mean,
I miss his era of Nintendo.
I'd say this: if he hadn't passed away, he'd probably still be the president of Nintendo right now.
100%. I mean, they're there until that's what they do. That's what Japanese do. I mean, they work at the one place until they can't work anymore. I mean,
Yeah,
you know, you look at, oh God, blanket on the name of the creator of Mario and all those iconic series, Metroid. What's his name? Why am I blanking on it?
yeah, I don't remember the name.
Anyway, yeah, he's still there. I mean, and you got to think, he created the original Super Mario Brothers. He's still there making games, you know?
Yeah,
It's crazy. He's overseeing all the Mario games, the Metroid games coming out, Animal Crossing, Pokemon, things like that. So,
Oh, you talking about because Mr. Coffee mentioned Miyamoto?
yeah, Miyamoto. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
He's still there. And it, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's about the same age that Iwata was.
I think because he's he worked it there. He started working there like what, back in the 80s essentially.
Yeah, when Super Mario Bros. Came out, he was working there.
Yeah, because he worked on like Mario and Yoshi and stuff like
Yeah.
that, like the original
Yep.
SNES,
And still
and SNES
is.
and stuff
He
like
still
that.
is hands-on with those games.
He's
which
been
is
there for
crazy.
like what, probably close to 50 years at this
Yeah.
point. Then
I mean, they work there until they die. That's how Japanese are. I mean, if they like a company, they stick with that company until they die.
I mean, if you love what you do, you don't need to retire. 'cause
And
you
obviously,
enjoy what
like,
you do.
yeah, he loves what he does. I mean, he's given us so many iconic titles. It's I hope that man stays around for a long time still, because he is he really breathes lives into these games. So
Yeah, because it's like, I mean, it's not going to be around forever, but it's like, how long is he going to retire? Is he just going to stay there until
I
he
don't
can't
see him
work anymore?
retiring. I don't even see him retiring.
Because you saw it's the same thing when it came to Studio Ghibli with
We're
Martin,
bad with
same
names,
thing.
aren't we?
Yeah. But because he retired like a while ago after one of his films, and then it's like 10 years later came back and started making films again.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
But
so
yeah.
but
I mean,
by the way,
talking
just
about
a quick shout. Have you ever gotten Iwata's book before? Have you? Great read. I don't even read, and it's amazing. Like the book is amazing. You should definitely look it up. It is so worth. It's a great collection piece too, but it's an excellent book, and it was one of the first books I've read. Before that, I hadn't read a book in like 10 years, and I read that, and I was just like very intrigued. I'm like, this is you're hearing like the life of a man who's directly involved in the book, and kind of the innards and outs of the way that he thinks and the way that he perceives the world.
The ins and outs.
Is that what I said?
You said like innards and outs.
Oh,
I just thought it was a funny way to say it.
Always give me a hard time.
But we got some stuff from somebody that's in the industry. No Rush for the Wicked developer Thomas Mahler tweeted out on X about, why AAA games are struggling right now. And just not all of them, but a lot of them are just miraculously failing in spectacular fashion, like just falling flat on their heads.
They are.
Yeah, so he came out and said, this is a direct quote from him. I know it sounds absurd, but most of the game studios out there that hit it big were at one point just a small group of passionate folks that wanted to make games together. In a lot of cases, they were just friends. If they were lucky, they found out in the process they actually make a great team. Then the games came out, they created, struck a chord, and now they scale up, become massive studios. Then lots of other folks come in and demand this and that, and unknowingly change the culture and the approach. And then we suddenly wonder what happened to this or that great studio that always delivered in the past once they are not delivering the same quality of products anymore, even though everything changed in their approach to making games. And I think this is something we've talked about before. It's like, you look at some of those other studios, like, well, why is their stuff now is not the same as it was 10, 15 years ago? Like, why is the quality changed? It's like, well, they hit it big with a title. The studio got real big, names and faces change and stuff like that. And eventually nobody there's that's the same. It gets corporatized, and then profit matters above all else.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with this guy's statement. I agree.
I think for sure it matters with BioWare. You look at where they were back in like 2003, I think is when their first Star Wars game came out. Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
It's like what, 2007 with their first Mass Effect. What did the Dragon Age Origins come out about 2009? If I'm not mistaken.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Like those, like really, they were known for their writing. Gameplay at times was lacking a lot, but you play them for the writing and the RPG elements and stuff like that. But over time, it just feels like, I think it happened after EA bought them right around Mass Effect 2, but you really felt it in Mass Effect 3, Andromeda, some of their other failed projects. Is it just felt like it got too corporatized, and then, hey, let's just make a game that's going to make a lot of money. Because what is it? Did they make Anthem? Or was that a different studio? Do you know? I have to double check now.
BioWare making Anthem? That was EA.
No, EA owns BioWare.
Yeah. Okay. So hold on.
BioWare made Anthem in 2019.
Oh, they
that
did.
Was right after
Okay.
Andromeda, and that was such a spectacular failure. And at that point, you're like, this is not the same studio that it was back in the 2000s when they made these absolutely amazing games like Knights of the Old Republic, Dragon Age Origins, the original Mass Effect trilogy for the most part. So it was right around that point that it felt like it started to drop off after a while.
Yeah,
and
for
it's just
sure.
It's it becomes too corporatized, and then you'll lose your good writers, because when they had Drew Karpyshyn there for the first two Mass Effect games, really good writer. I've read some of his Star Wars books because he wrote the Darth Bane books, which I think are absolutely must-reads.
Some of the best.
For any Star Wars fans, even if Disney's butchered the canon, in my opinion, and I kind of just stopped watching Star Wars altogether. I think he made some of the best books that I've written, and I really liked his writing.
I will say it again and again, when they decided to just do away with the expanded universe, they lost me before I even saw.
I get it, because
I get it, but I don't. It doesn't mean they need to scrap all of it. They didn't need to just scrap the entire expanded universe.
I got a lot of it because it takes place where the time period they wanted to make the next movie, and that just causes complications. But all like the Old Republic was completely unnecessary. Now it's the High Republic. I'm like, you didn't need to make this. We already had a good established lore in the expanded universe that took place in that time period to some degree. But then completely scrapping everything. There's a lot of good content, a lot of good books. Even if I didn't necessarily like them, there was a lot of good stories that existed, and it was wholesale unnecessary. But I think it just goes to a larger portion. Studios get too big; they just want to start, cranking stuff out, and then the quality drops. New people come in with different visions, and it's just not the studio people fell in love with. And I 100% agree with this take, because small studio gets big, becomes really big, and then it starts to fall apart. Essentially, is what it feels like with a lot of these studios. Yeah. Because now everyone's looking at the indie stuff, and it's like, oh, when's the next big studio going to come up? Because you saw it with the studio that made Ghost of Tsushima. It's the next big thing. They're gonna make a big game, but in 10 years, is it gonna be the same studio, or is all the staff gonna be different, and the quality gonna start dropping off?
Yeah, I get it. I mean, it's a tough one, right? Like, Star Wars had so many directions to go, almost too many directions, right? So where they went, like we both talked about, we like Rogue Squadron 1. We both like that. If they had taken that, you like it, right?
Yeah, it's the only movie that I like.
Yeah, it's the only one I like as well. So if they had taken that approach, the way that they did that movie, into the new films, I mean, it could have been a completely different story. We could all be sucked back into Star Wars. Now, obviously, that movie took place during older events, but I'm just saying, if they took that approach with the movie, the character building,
that much care and writing the actual story.
Yeah, the character building in it, the actual action in the movie. Everything about
the established lore.
Yeah, I mean, everything about it was just right. I mean, it was just right. So I've given up on Star Wars. I'll just say that.
My ultimate criticism with the sequel movies, because obviously Rey's going to stick around, which I think is a terrible decision. But the problem is with the
terrible
episode
character
7 was they were very obviously baiting you into, hey, you remember all these old characters.
Yeah.
Which I think was a terrible decision. I think, and I still do think, you needed to disconnect from the original 6 films. You need to either go
your own direction
in the past, or you needed to go like a century in the future to where you're fully disconnected.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with the old characters
that people don't like. It's not tied to the movies and stuff like that. I still think they're terribly written films, top to bottom, regardless of them being only like 20, 30 years in the future. But I think you need to disconnect from the Skywalkers.
I mean, do you agree with me that if they had just went a complete different direction, didn't show any old characters from the other movies, did their own thing, that it could be a complete different story? Like, they don't need to bring in Luke Skywalker. They didn't need to do that. And Luke didn't even like it. Mark Hamill spoke on it. He did not even like it.
Yeah, but he took a paycheck. So his criticisms, I don't care.
Well, he took a paycheck because a lot of people would take a paycheck. It's a Disney. They're paying a lot of money.
Then again, it's Mark Hamill. He said a lot of stupid stuff that I don't agree with. So I take what he says with a grain of salt. Great actor. I don't like a lot of his personal opinions on stuff. But
I guess I don't know.
I don't know.
But
yeah, because Mr. Coffee brought up about George Lucas himself, wanting to, it was always about the Skywalker family. And I get that. That might have been his vision for the films before he, sold out to Disney.
Yeah, but
to me, some of the best expanded universe, which was usually in the books, had nothing to do with that era of Star Wars. Completely disconnected.
I mean, you look back at the I forget what the age is called, but when they were, before they even had lightsabers, there was a book series, I'm trying to think of it, where they were using like swords.
I think that has to go back with was it the Gray Jedi? I don't know how old. I don't think it's super old, but the Gray Jedi.
It was something like that before lightsabers were even a thing.
Before you essentially had the split where it became Jedi and Sith, it was just the Force was all that mattered. I think. Yeah. Is that the same concept?
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to
But
go
like
back
they
and
were
actually
using
find that book.
swords, like actual swords instead of lightsabers.
Yeah, because the Force was still like a new thing that you're
Yeah.
still learning.
Yeah, which I thought was great. I thought it was great. I thought it was a great. I love reading
think a
about
lo-
that era of Star Wars.
I think all the old Republic expanded universe stuff was some of the best written stuff, and it's still in
And you know
a lot
what?
of ways true to the original lore because it's written by really good
Why
writers.
do we not just get a Knights of the Old Republic movie? That would do so
Yeah.
well.
It respects the original IP, but it's completely
different.
disconnected from where we're at, to where it gives you some level of freedom.
That's
your
one
storytelling.
video game movie I would be all over, because I mean it's a movie
Yeah.
franchise turned into a game, brought back to a movie. Knights of the Old Republic is top tier Star Wars, and you ask
Yeah.
anybody that's a Star Wars fan or even just a video game fan, Knights of the Old Republic is excellent. If they took that and brought that into a movie, it would sell gangbusters.
Yeah. Instead, we have to bring back a used villain for the ninth film, and the Emperor and stuff like that. Which and I've never read the books. There were apparently books that dealt with the Emperor essentially being cloned and coming back.
Yes, there are.
That people,
yes.
I feel like a lot of people from what I read, because I've not actually read the books, a lot of people didn't care for. But the movies didn't even do that kind of storyline justice. That you would have been better off just copying these books. It would have been a more coherent story.
I haven't heard anybody
not like
say
we're
they
just
didn't
pulling stuff out our butt.
like that about the Emperor, but that does happen, and I feel like that would have made for a more interesting movie than what we got.
Yeah.
Still,
But I think it goes to bigger both AAA game industry and I think Hollywood. I've been saying this for a while. It's just they're morally and creatively bankrupt. It's really all they are.
yeah, and,
What's all
and
these
it's a
new movies we
rehash,
get?
it's a remake, it's a
rehashed
remake
of stuff that's already been made.
Yeah, we're just remaking old IPs that are already established that people know, and that's all they can do. There's no creative vision anymore. There's no, and I do wonder what AI is going to, how much impact it's going to have in the movie industry, and the fact that you go, give me an AI summary of a Star Wars film, including all the Star Wars films that we currently have. So taking all the synopsises, or even straight up scripts, you can run a script right through ChatGPT, for instance. And these companies have the better version of ChatGPT that we don't have unless you get the paid version of it. But they're on the cutting edge of AI. And I wonder if like they were just to run a script, through all the synopsis of the Star Wars films that people like, and even just run straight scripts through. You can run a whole entire script of the movie, 20-page script through it, and give me a synopsis on a good movie that would be the next predecessor to what I've sent you. Give me a good movie idea. And how much do you want to bet that ChatGPT comes up with a better idea than the crap we're being fed right now with these stupid Star Wars movies?
At the very least, it wouldn't be any worse. But I see
It would not be
the
worse
AI
for sure.
It's good as a tool, but on its own, it's not going to write a good or enthralling film. It would come off as kind of bad at the end of the day. But I mean, Disney as a whole just kind of feels bankrupt to some degree.
Mr. Coffee said Force Awakens was just a remaster of New Hope.
Yeah, pretty much what everybody
Pretty
said
much
about
what
it.
it was. Pretty much what
They
it
remade
was.
the film, 50 years in the future or something like that. I guess 20, 30 years in the future. But I think that's another reason why a lot of people are going to foreign entertainment, whether that's anime, manga, or foreign films, especially Korean films or Chinese films, because they're not, at the very least to those in the West, it's something new, and it's not, it's taking risks to some degree. It's not just redoing the same thing over and over. Obviously, anime does that to a millionth degree in certain stuff, but it's still in certain areas it's willing to take risks and at least do something different. And I don't know about a lot of European films, though. When I say the West, I kind of lump a lot of those together. But I think it's just, a lot of people are looking outside for different entertainment, and Hollywood has to make a change eventually. I mean, there's always going to be people that are going to buy the slop and be like, yes, give me more multi-billion-dollar corporation. But
yeah, for sure. So it looks like we also got Splatoon 3 reveals event roadmap for November. Crazy that we're still getting the support that we are for Splatoon 3.
Yeah. Needed something to break up some positive. I don't play Splatoon 3, but I know it's a fairly popular Switch game.
Very popular, and should definitely have voice chat.
Yeah, that's like one of the criticisms is how the voice chat. You need a phone to make that work.
Yeah.
But they kind of came out on the Splatoon North America for November. It's
give me
like
just a sec,
I guess
sorry.
Today and tomorrow they're doing some Duel of Dynamics the 8th to the 10th, it's some extra work or whatever that means. It's pretty much like every weekend or something like that. Inkjets for everyone, swim it to win it, work the Angels monthly challenge. I don't know what these exactly mean, but if you're a fan, obviously, it's a big thing. But these are all like 2-day events for the most part. It looks like it's like every weekend or something like that. The at Splatoon North NA has all this fun stuff, but just wanted to give it a shout out. Not a game we talk a whole lot about, but it's a well received game. I know it. I've seen people stream the game. It's really popular, but just want to essentially just kind of give it a shout out.
Yeah, for sure. So it looks like we've also got Monster Hunter Wilds confirms important feature. So we know that the beta. I have not got to start the beta yet. I'm going to get it downloaded.
Not going to be able to play it at all.
But
it's going through the 4th, so essentially it's an extended weekend for how the beta works.
Yeah.
Pull it up. One of the things they did announce, though, if you do play the beta, they said for sure, this was straight from the Monster Hunter Twitter account, the time you spend meticulously creating your Hunter and Palico in the Monster Hunter Wilds open beta test will be well worth it, as you'll be able to import their character creation data into the full game. So at least your character creator, if you do it during the beta, you don't have to redo it when you actually get the game.
Yeah.
Next year.
Yeah. I think it's cool they're doing a beta for this game, because I could be wrong, but I don't remember them doing a beta before for Monster Hunter. I maybe for Monster Hunter World, but I don't remember. But let me just say, this game looks freaking phenomenal. It looks really good. The screenshots are insane of the monsters. This is like...
There has been some criticisms. It is a beta. The game's not launched yet, where there's some... Yeah, it's not graphically perfect. It's not a finished game, obviously. But a lot of people seem to really hype. Like, this game immediately broke 400,000 concurrent players on Steam in its first day.
I believe it.
50,000.
It's a huge property. It's the number one IP in Japan. Above Pokemon.
I mean, it had like 5 or 6 times the amount of players than the Dragon Age game did yesterday.
Good on them.
But everything I've seen, like I'm kind of wanting to keep myself from getting too drug into this game, because I want to play it on launch. And like a lot of films,
why
and TV
would you
shows
not want to play the
games,
beta and have your stuff transferred over?
Because I want to play the game complete. I want to have full access to the game, but I also want to go into a game as blind as possible. Like, I like not knowing a whole lot about a game to some degree, and just being able to explore it when it comes out. Because this is 100% like a day one purchase to me. Like, one of us is going to be streaming this game on launch. That's pretty much a guarantee.
Well, day one, I'll have it day one. And multiplayer, we can both play. So,
is there multiplayer on this game?
There's always multiplayer in every Monster Hunter.
I've only ever played Monster Hunter Worlds, and I knew that was, but it's the only Monster Hunter.
Every Monster Hunter player from the beginning has multiplayer.
Yeah, because this game comes out February 20th, so it's still a ways away. If there's
let me tell you,
beta, this game still has like 4 months to go.
This is one of the games that you want to play with other players, because some of the monsters, when you get the later stage monsters, there's absolutely zero chance you're taking down that monster by yourself. Zero chance. It gets very hard.
So it's already confirmed. The weekend of the last weekend of February when this game comes out, we're streaming
that 100%. I'm gonna be head first into this game.
Might as well make it a full day thing instead of waiting until late on a Saturday at that point.
Yeah, I'll play as long as I can. We'll stream longer than normal, and we'll just freaking play and get into it.
So this game is coming out on PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, and Xbox Series S. I am 100% getting this on Steam. I don't know what platform
Mark, come on. I don't know if this PC and console players, can you play together? You gotta find out first.
It's worth looking into.
I can't play it on Steam.
If it's a multiplayer game, if it's a multi-console release like this, I always prefer to get it on Steam, because
if it's multi, yeah, I guarantee that it's not cross-platform with PC.
I don't know why you have such hatreds towards PC gaming.
I don't, but I know that I can't play it on my PC. There's no way my PC is going to be able to handle it.
Okay, we'll bring up.
You have a 4070. This is Monster Hunter. I want a physical. This game's important to me.
You get both.
Oh my god, I'm not buying it twice.
Physical
Mark.
when you can get it cheaper. So the recommended PC settings via Steam. So Windows 10, obviously. Minimum or recommended is i5 1116K, which you should have something better than that. 16 gigabytes
I have an
of RAM.
i3.
Graphics card NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2070.
I don't have a RTX.
2070 Super at VRAM 8 gigs, or the NVIDIA RTX 4060 at 8 gigs, or the AMD 67. That's just recommended for decent
4060.
settings. I don't know.
Bro, I'm
4060.
barely going to be able to run it. I have a 4060.
I don't know the difference between the 2070 Super and the 4060. But I mean, that's just recommended. The minimum requirements is a 1660 Super, which is a significantly older thing. But I mean, if it's cross-platform, it's irrelevant. Broadband internet, that's funny. Minimum of 140 gigs of available space on an SSD. It's a large game.
How big is it?
140 gigs of
Oh
available.
my god, I definitely can't play it on.
And it requires an SSD. You have to have an SSD. With
I definitely can't play it on PC. I'm running a 1070 Ti.
You really run a 1070? That's
No,
old.
I'm running a 4060. 4060.
Yeah, so you've got the minimum.
I've got the minimum, not the recommended.
No, you've got the recommended for the. You said you had a 4060, right?
Yeah, 4060.
How many gigs is it?
I've got 96 gigabytes of RAM.
Well, no, it's not the RAM. It's the VRAM on the actual graphics card. The minimum is going to be. It says VRAM 8 gigs. That's gonna. I'm pretty sure they don't.
That's like standard, right?
So you've got the recommended, the lowest. So you can play on decent mid tier settings.
But I can't play it in 4K like I can on my PS5.
If you call that actual 4K with
but it's still upscaled. I'm not upscaling on PC.
It's equivalent hardware. You still have like DLSS on PC and stuff like that.
I don't have DLSS.
Your PS5 is going to be able to play better.
How do you get DLSS?
PC.
How do you get it?
It's just built into your hardware.
I don't have it.
I don't know if I believe you.
I've never. Anytime I pull up a game, I don't know anything about DLSS. How do you know if you have it? I thought it was 4070 and up had DLSS. Am I right? I thought 4060 didn't have DLSS.
Let me pull it
I
up.
will shout out, I cannot figure out a way to get to the beta on Monster Hunter, so I don't know if you have to pre-order it. Because I don't see an option on PS5 to...
So this is coming from Wikipedia, but it says
It's
with
going
the
on
exception
till
of
the
the
3rd.
shader core version implementation and control, DLSS is only available on the GeForce RTX 20, 30, 40, and Quattro RTX series of the video cards.
Oh, but I just found
20,
the
30,
beta.
and 40. So yeah, it absolutely has it.
See, I've never seen anything pop up about
using
DLSS.
dedicated AI accelerators called tension cores. I don't know if it's on the Quattro on all of them, but yeah, 100%.
So,
you've got DLSS because I have it.
Mr. Coffee said there will be cross-platform between PC and...
Well, there's cross-platform. It's not a problem, but I'm 100%. If it's cross-platform, I'm just gonna get it on PC.
Wouldn't you want to have a physical copy of this game though?
Yeah, but I can get that later when it's on sale or something like that.
Just seems wild to
It's
me.
not gonna be $70 forever at launch.
The game looks absolutely freaking
But that's
gorgeous.
what I usually do for a lot of multi-platform games like this. I'll get it on PC first, and then like a year or two later, I'll grab a physical for it.
Let me just say, I am shocked that you're getting this game. Did you play Monster Hunter?
I've only played Worlds.
Okay, so you didn't play the last one on Switch.
No, I want to get into it though, and I've seen a lot of good stuff.
It's great. It's the #1 Japanese IP.
Yeah, and I had a decent time with Worlds, even though I put 15, 20 hours into the game.
Oh god, I put like 500 hours in that game.
I'm pretty sure I had that. I don't know if I had that game on PC or I had it on my PS4. I had on one of those two.
I had it on Xbox.
Like the worst way to play it.
Actually, I might actually grab this for Xbox Series X. If this is a well, it depends because I'm getting PS5 Pro, so maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'll just get, because then I'll have the built-in PSSR. I don't know. We'll see.
Let me double check. So
can you see? Can you look up real quick if this will have PS5 Pro enhancements?
According to digital threads, Monster Hunter Wilds will only have partial cross-platform support. The good news is that the part that will have is crossplay, meaning that you and friends, either on PS5, Xbox Series X or S, or PC, can all hunt together no issues. This feature can be disabled if you wish, but enabled by default. So I don't know exactly what they mean by partial, but it's cross play, but I don't know what they mean by partial cross platform support.
Yeah, what does that even mean?
I guess the important thing is the cross play, which means you can still play together. I don't know if it's like in-game chat or some other stuff is limited.
Well, I've got the beta downloading right now.
Okay, so here it is from the same Digital Trends. It says where Monster Hunter Wilds falls short is in the cross save and cross progression departments. You will not be able to take your character progression or DLC from one platform to another. If you ever decide to play the game on a different console, you'll need to start all the way.
Oh, okay.
From the beginning.
I don't care as much about that.
Just your progression stuck on that hardware, whether it's a PC, Xbox, or PlayStation.
Gotcha.
Which I think is acceptable.
I think it's unacceptable.
So you can get it on PS5 and Xbox, and I'll just get it on PC, and we can still play together.
I'll tell you what, I'm actually thinking I'm going to get on PS5 because the PS5 Pro, it has enhancements for it. So it's going to have the advanced ray tracing, the PSSR, all that stuff that's automatically built into the system. It's not like DLSS where it works for 1% of games.
Yeah. To be fair, I think we talked more about WoWs than I think I intended to.
No, I mean, I'm just surprised that you're getting it. I'm really shocked.
Play the
right
game.
now.
It looks fun. I've heard a lot of good things about the game.
I've been playing since the PS2 game.
I haven't, so it's a series.
I played all the PSP games. I played those PSP games like no other. You have no idea the amount of time I spent multiplayer on the PSP games. What was that large noise?
I smacked my mic.
Mark, can't smack mics on the podcast. Wait, you gotta save that for later. All right, so next we got...
Yeah, this one shouldn't be too big. Nothing new on this hype, but the Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered has problems on the PC, and it has mixed reviews.
Go figure.
So it's critical because it forces you to have a PSN, has no cloud saves, or doesn't bring over the trophies from the other version of the game, so you have to do that over from scratch. As well as, unlike the PS5 version, which has no problems, there is reported graphical and audio issues in this game at launch.
This is why I keep
they had when they first brought it to PC.
If you're going to play PlayStation games, just play it on console. PC always has issues with PlayStation games.
Oh, because they suck at porting their stuff. You have
They're
to wait
terrible.
a whole year for them to fix.
They need a new porting
problems.
studio. The porting studio sucks.
Well,
who's the porting studio again doing it?
I'm not sure.
I can't remember their name, but they've done a lot of ports for PlayStation.
All I know is when they first brought Zero Dawn over to PC, it was a mess, and it was unplayable. I went back like 2 years after the fact, and it played very well. The problem is they poured it in terrible condition, and we'll fix it later.
𝐀𝐮𝐝𝐿 is the one doing it. So yeah, a big FU to 𝐀𝐮𝐝𝐿, because this is getting ridiculous. I mean, this is the problem. That's why I say. I mean, it's hard for someone that maybe they only have a PC, which isn't most people, because PC is harder to get into than console. It's let's be real, it's more expensive.
I don't know, at this point, it's getting negligible. At a $700 price tag, you can get equivalent PC hardware.
Well, that's for the PS5 Pro. That is for the diehards. If you're just getting a PS5, that's a different story. Or you're just getting a Switch. I mean, $250, $300. Come on, it's a big difference.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could play it on your PS5 if you really want to, and it's gonna play fine. But
it plays perfect.
It's unfortunate.
It plays perfect on PS5.
It's unfortunate that they just continue to have lackluster PC support.
No, it is very unfortunate. I think it's ridiculous, and I personally, I can't support it. I would love to have checked out God of War on PC, but the whole PSN signing in thing, it's not I have PSN. I don't mind it, right? I don't mind it. But the thing is, it should not be a requirement. That should not by any means be a requirement. It really makes me mad, you know?
And people are going to complain about that, but I think Sony's just, is going to stand their ground on that one, even if it hurts them, sales.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate and also frustrating, but
very frustrating.
We do have a new game coming to the Switch. The Stalker Legends of the Zone trilogy came to Switch yesterday.
Really?
I don't know if you ever played those games before. Yeah. So the Switch version, they're available for $20 a piece, or you can purchase them all together for $40 combined, which obviously is the better
That's a good deal. The Stalker games are really cool. Really cool games.
I've not played any of them, so I don't have a whole lot to say. But I know this was, a lot of people talking about it.
Take an FPS game that's also an RPG, and that's Stalker. It's like a first-person shooter game, but it's also an RPG. So it's very unique. It's a very unique series. It's very fun too, and that's a good price tag, man. That's $40. That's a great price tag for those.
Yeah, because these are somewhat older games.
Yeah, one of them deals with Chernobyl, which is really interesting. I'm trying to remember what the one's called. I forget, like Blue Sky or Clear Sky or something like that. Yeah, it's so good.
Oh yeah, because the first game came out in 2007.
Yeah, this is a good deal, man.
Yeah, so if you have it on, you have a Switch and you like these games, $40 for all three.
This is something I would think you would like too, Mark.
I mean, it's 100% worth looking into. Though
yeah, I mean, it is an FPS game, but it's an RPG too. It's very unique. I mean, at this point, it's way different than your normal FPS.
I mean, I can go. Well, yeah. At that point, I might as well just get it because I can get all three of them for the same price on Steam. So,
how much is it on Steam?
For the bundle with Stalker, Call of Pripyat, Clear Skies, and Shadow of Chernobyl, it's $40.
Good deal. That's a really good deal.
As of right now, through the 4th, just Shadow of Chernobyl is like $5 because that game specifically is on sale.
That's cool. Yeah, it's a good deal, man. So it looks like we also got Steam games will now need to fully disclose kernel level anti. So this is a big one. This is a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess kind of what are your thoughts on this? Because for me, I think this is important.
I think it just opens up to let people know what kind of anti-cheat and, in theory, what kind of access you're allowing certain software to access on your computer.
So, kernel level anti-cheat systems are a derivative technology that allows virtual world developers to detect illicit behavior by identifying malware and hacks directly on the computer running them rather than through patterns inside a virtual department. For example, in online games.
So I think if you go on YouTube and look up Pirate Software Thor, he had a short from his stream that goes decently in depth on how anti-cheat works, whether it's just within the game or how kernel level, because I know he wasn't the biggest fan of it. He used to be like a developer and stuff like that. He knows how he's like deals with hacking and stuff like that, so he's pretty smart on some of this stuff, far more than I ever will be.
Yeah,
but it's easy. To some degree, it's scanning your computer, not just the actual game. So it could detect a cheat software that you're not even actually using, but it's like, oh, I see it on your computer. You're allowing them like base level access to your PC.
Yeah,
which isn't necessary for it. In theory, they're not allowed to do anything nefariously with that, but you're technically giving them access to it, which, if there were bad actors, is the best thing. Most people, some people say it's not a big deal. Some people say it's due. It just feels like it's a major argument. But I think it's just important that people understand what's happening. It's the same thing with, do you own a game or are you just buying essentially a license for this game? I think it's just a lot of people don't pay attention. They don't know what this stuff is. And at the very least, if you know what you're buying, you know what's going on. You have the ability to say, oh, I don't want this, or I'll try to buy it somewhere else that doesn't use this, level of anti-cheat or something like that.
Yeah. And then I just wanted
people that are going to cheat in games, they're going to constantly be finding ways around this. It's not always a foolproof thing, but you're giving them access to your entire computer, not just the software that you're running on your computer.
Right. Yeah. 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 It's a complicated.
I mean, at the very least, yeah. I mean, make your own decision on this. I think for a lot of people, because until a month or two ago, I didn't know anything about this, so it's worth looking into. And then, if you don't like it, because most of the major multiplayer online games are using kernel level anti-cheat, like your Call of Duty and stuff like that. It's 100% using this kind of anti-cheat. So I think it's just worth, at the very least, knowing what is happening when you're playing a game or what's happening on your computer and stuff like that, because that's the most important thing as far as like online internet security, because you're never going to be perfectly secure, but the best way to combat problems is to just know vulnerabilities in your computer and stuff like that, and your network.
Yeah.
So just knowing knowing what to do and what not to do on a home internet versus public internet and stuff like that. It's just, people just need to have the knowledge available. And if you don't care and you want to ignore it, more power to you at that point.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I guess on a lighter note, we've got Mario Kart toys are back at McDonald's. It's all from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I would like to try to get the full set of these. As I
pretty sure
usually
you're gonna have to buy the kids meals for these, I'd assume.
So let me put it this way. I have gone through many different fast food where there's toys that I want to get the full set and just ask to straight up buy them. And I've done it many times. For my 9th birthday, I want to say it was my 9th, whenever Superman Returns came out, I wanted all of the toys from Burger King. So we went through the drive-thru. My dad asks, and it was part of my birthday present, asks, hey, can I buy all the Superman toys that you guys got? He wants to get one of everything. Bought it. So I learned from that I went through and I've asked, hey, can I buy one of each of the toys that you guys have?
Or at the very least, if you're gonna buy a hammer, like, hey, can I have this specific thing, this toy?
You could ask that too if you want to buy 8, 9. If you want to buy. So the coolest thing is there is a golden Mario Kart, and then there's a bronze Princess Peach Mario, which is obviously the ones people are going to be chasing.
Rose gold Princess Peach. Apparently, these are like the 2 new ones from the last time they did this.
It is rose gold in the game. You're right. So, yeah, my bad, Mark.
I just wanted to clarify.
No, I'm just joking. Yeah, rose gold Peach and gold Mario. Do you care about these?
Somewhat. I might. I feel like I go to McDonald's enough anyways because I'm out all the time.
You are getting a little big these days.
At home. Yeah, you wish.
No, I'm definitely going to try. I'll at least go through and ask, hey, can I buy one of each and try?
I might at least try to get the gold Mario, the rose gold Peach, and probably the Yoshi. But the only 3 that I honest to God
Yoshi
care about.
is my main. If they did a gold Yoshi.
I just want characters that I want and stuff like this because they're.
I mean, the Bowser's cool too.
They might be worth something in 40 years, but they're cheap.
I don't care about that. It's more about I want them. I don't care about.
Yeah, I just
prices.
want it. It's not nothing that's really going to be worth a whole lot of money. It's just something neat to have.
And I keep them sealed too. I don't take them out of the plastic baggies either. So
it's even worse.
What?
I don't want to take them out and put them on the shelf.
You still can in the plastic baggie. I will tell you 100%. I will not remove these from the package, but I still want to get them all. Anyway, with that said, we've also got Nintendo denies layoff rumors. You have any insight on this? Because this is news to me.
No. So apparently Nintendo came out and said it's layoffs at its game testing subsidiary, the Mario Club company. There's apparently a rumor for some Japanese publication that there's going to be layoffs, and Nintendo essentially came out and says, no, that's not happening. Which is, I guess, some good news, or they're just they're going to say no, and then a month later, oh, hey, there's layoffs, because we've definitely heard this before from the game industry. No layoffs are coming, and then like a month later, hey, we're laying off like 10% of our workforce.
Yeah, it's Nintendo with the layoffs, it doesn't happen as often.
I think they're a better managed company than a lot of these other ones.
This wasn't the only Nintendo-related company faced with news of layoffs. It was claimed that the Mario Club Company Limited was letting go of roughly 150 of its 400 employees earlier this week. For the uninitiated, Mario Club Limited is a game testing and debugging team that has been working on many Nintendo games since Dr. Mario back in 1990. Here's my take on this. If Nintendo is laying off, I feel like there's not going to be as big of headlines because it's not going to be like a big, gigantic public thing. Japanese are very... they don't have to shout out on social media that they got laid off. Like, they're very quiet, conservative.
Yeah, but Nintendo also hasn't had these spectacular AAA failures upon failures where it just feels inevitable.
By the way,
feel like if Nintendo was going to lay people off, they would have done it in the last 2 years with everybody else to the same degree. Like they would have been laid off already. But it feels like every major game Nintendo puts out, it's a financial success. Like they're not losing money like Ubisoft and EA are and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
There's some new news. If you're a Power Rangers fan, on December 10th, you're getting a new game. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind, which is inspired by the
excited.
old 90s beat 'em ups.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
So think of like what they did with the Ninja Turtles games.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same aesthetic with this. Because
Yeah.
it bring in, I don't know how much of the story, but it looks like it's bringing back some of the older villains. Because what's it? Goldar is coming back, and I think he was one of the old OG villains.
Yep.
For the Power Rangers and
Yeah,
stuff
he's
like
the best
that.
one.
So if you love Power Rangers and the 90s aesthetic for beat 'em up games, 100% up your alley. And it's, about a month away, so.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
we did miss one game that came out in December just because it's not a big one.
What was that?
This game specifically.
What game?
It's not a major, because it comes out in December. But it's not a major release, but it is a game that it might be decent.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this is developed and published by Digital Eclipse. I don't know if you've ever heard of them before. It's coming to PC,
for sure.
PS4, PS5, Switch, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and Xbox Series S. So it's coming to current gen and last gen consoles, more or less. I don't know if we got. Oh yeah. So the starting price will be $34.99. The Steam version currently has a 15% discount, which makes it essentially a $30 game. So if you plan on getting this on PC, you can buy it early and save some money. But
let me just do a quick shout out.
$35 is going to be bad for it.
We are only 4 members away from our next goal over there on Twitch. So if you are listening to the audio, check out our Twitch. We just 4 members away from the goal. Definitely want to shout that out. And definitely appreciate all the support. Yeah, there's a lot of extras that you get. I put a lot of work into getting extras on there. You get different emoticons. There's a bunch of different stuff that you get as a tier 1 sub. So I did want to shout that out.
Yeah, and I guess before we move on to the next section and stuff like that, we've got 2 more N64 games, Nintendo Switch Online. We got both the Shadow Man and Turok 2.
Yeah,
now are on the Nintendo Switch Online.
Turok 2 is cool.
So not only getting more games for the 64, but we're getting more mature rated games as well coming there.
They did that for a Halloween drop. Obviously, we're one day past Halloween, so unfortunately, but they did it as a Halloween drop since they're like horror-esque games, which is cool.
But I mean, it's still good games. I'm sure people that are fans of them are going to play them regardless.
So let's break up here and let's do a little show and tell real quick. So for our audio listeners, we sometimes do a little show and tell, showing different things off. So if you want to actually be able to see, head on over to the video over on YouTube. We show off different items that we got throughout the week or the past couple weeks and things like that. So we just like to do that to kind of break up the podcast and make it a little more entertaining. So why don't you go ahead, Mark?
As I drink, I guess I technically bought these like last Saturday and stuff like that, but I got 3 different games. The first one was the used copy of the Wii version of the Super Mario All-Stars.
Heck yeah.
It cost me like $45. And it surprisingly still had the actual booklet inside. I haven't had a chance to test it. I don't know how much they did. Because obviously I don't know how you're gonna see on this disc on the back of it. It's definitely has some light scratches on it. Hopefully it'll still actually work. I gotta plug it into my Wii U and actually double check. It still even had the Club Nintendo inside folder. I don't know if the code for that even works. Well, no, Club Nintendo doesn't even work. But it was something nice, something you wouldn't expect to see at a GameStop for like their older used games. But I saw that and I was like, oh, 100%, I'm gonna pick this up. I never even bought it when it first came out on the Wii, which I kind of regret now. Obviously, you can play these games on the Nintendo Switch, but it's just good to have old physicals, even if they were like re-releases. And then, well, it's unfortunate because they don't have any of the cases. I did get 2 games for the 3DS at GameStop. They were like $35 a piece. Just slowly, he's got the actual collectors for it, the proper version for the Wii. But the other 2 3DS games, because it's hard to see on this one, is I got the Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. I have the Ocarina of Time on my 3DS, the digital version of it. And then I've got the Link Between Worlds for the 3DS. So I'm trying to slowly grow my Zelda collection, and these are two. It's unfortunate that I don't actually have the case, but I can buy like a reproduction case, and that'll work just fine down the road. So those are like the 3 games that I picked up last Saturday, technically. I don't know if Brandon's got anything to show now.
Yeah, I do. Hold on, I'm trying to gather it all real quick.
Or, I guess, technically, because I haven't opened them, and I got them in the mail technically yesterday. I got a bunch of these Pokemon Trick or Trade cards, the single packs.
Oh yeah, you said you got 4 of them, right?
Yeah, because I was trying to make sure I was gonna. I had.
Can you send me one if I give you the money? Because I went and looked today, 3 stores, none of them had them.
I bought them on Amazon. I couldn't find them in store physically.
I looked
anywhere.
on Amazon. I didn't see. I'll look again, but
it might have been sold up. Yeah, I mean, I can send one to you.
Yeah,
like
let me look on Amazon first, and then we'll go from there on it. Give me just a second.
The guy that I bought them from, I bought 4 of the 5 that he had remaining in stock, or whatever the company was. But it's definitely neat. I don't know. I guess he's gonna pull it up real quick.
Yeah. So no, I wasn't pulling that up on there. Trying to do something else.
I know you're pulling that up, and I was like, oh, I guess I got this. Technically, this one other thing.
So, and I keep dropping it.
I'm assuming the odds on that aren't completely terrible.
For the Pokemon card packs?
Yeah.
They're supposed to be pretty good because they're mixed packs.
Well, I understood it was 1 card a pack, and there's 80 in that big pack. So you get 80 cards in that
yeah, because they're all singles for Trick or Treat.
And there's like, that's not why I bought them, but...
Obviously,
and there's supposed to be like 40 unique cards or something like that total. So I just bought a bunch of extras to hedge my bets because I didn't know what the drop was going to be for those.
Yeah, for sure. So the first thing,
Trick or Treat cards, and I bought them for me selfishly.
Of course you did. So let's see.
I'm a collector. What can I say?
Hold on, give me a sec. Trying to pull this up. Okay, so the first thing I've got is a Flash Boy Plus. This is for the it's for the Virtual Boy. So this sticker they sent me out 10 stickers, let me design them myself. This one I did Metroid. Funny thing is Metroid was never on the Virtual Boy, but it makes for a cool logo there. The next one, this was all black, so I went with this like scary design for this Flash Boy Plus. So basically a Flash Boy Plus lets you play any ROM on the Nintendo Virtual Boy. The downside to these versus my Hyper Flash 32 cart that I have is that you have to load these individually every single time. So you have to connect it to a computer, load up the ROM, and then the ROM's on there. It can hold 1 ROM at a time. But I mean, there's only, what is it, like 14 games total on the Virtual Boy, so it's not like a huge deal. I plan on trying to find a second Virtual Boy, and then I'll use these with that. That's kind of the plan. I've been looking for a second Virtual Boy for a while because I want to make a consoleized Virtual Boy. Basically where you turn a Virtual Boy into a console and you can hook it up to your TV. That's something I've been wanting to do for ages. And then next I got, so this is an older one that I never got to share. This got sent out to me by a fan. He's just like, hey, I just want you to have this. So what used to be my friend John Hancock put this out. This is Block'em Sock'em for the Sega Dreamcast. This is a homebrew. It's a puzzle game, and John Hancock, the big YouTuber, made this game. It's really cool. Sega Dreamcast game. I love Sega Dreamcast homebrews. He just sent this out to me, which is very kind of him. And yeah, it's really cool. So I haven't got to check it out yet. I got to plug the Dreamcast up, but I need to do that. Next from Vintex64. We talked about him last week on the podcast, but I wanted to show off a couple things I didn't get to show off. So first we've got Battle Clash for the Super Nintendo. And this is actually a Super Scope 6 game. So this is like a kind of an on-rail shooter game. So you got to have the Super Scope to work with it. But you can also use, hopefully I don't get in trouble for showing it, but you can also use this bad boy. It says Sega Saturn on it, but it has a Super Nintendo plug. So it's Sega Saturn because it's better. It's better than what we got. The Super Scope 6 is like this gigantic, ridiculous accessory that is just over the top. but they took what was one of the best light guns and they put a cable to make it work with the Super Nintendo.
That's good.
And then next,
Mr. Coffee asked, have you tried the 3DS Virtual Boy emulator?
I did. Yeah, I've got it loaded up on mine. It's really cool. It's a good way to experience it. Obviously, it's not immersive like that, but you get to see the 3D aspect, so it's kind of cool. Next, I've got Mortal Kombat Falcon Revenge for the Super Nintendo. So I'm going to check this one out. This is also sent out by Vintech64. So I got a big video coming out on everything they sent at some point. Just a shout out and a plug on the next video. The next video will be on this bad boy, the GameCube stylized keyboard here, which is probably the best keyboard I've ever used in my life. It's got the cherry red switches, mechanical keyboard. I mean, it's just absolutely phenomenal. It's missing a few buttons that I wouldn't give a crap about. Nothing that I would use. But it's got the keypad. So for most gamers, which is what this is oriented at, it's got everything you need. And then you've got the cool little thing here that you can load up whatever. I haven't messed with it yet, but you can load up with whatever image you want, and it's fully RGB. The RGB is actually like really good too. It's like a good RGB that's built into it. So really, really, really cool. And who doesn't love GameCube? It's stylized after GameCube, so that's so cool. But
arguably the best console Nintendo's ever made.
I mean, seriously, and they have, you know, I don't have it here. I haven't showed it off, but they sent out their new GameCube controller that also works with Switch, but it works on original hardware too. So, Mark, on a 10 out of 10 basis, how jealous are you of this?
Like a 3, realistically.
You don't think it's a cool collection piece?
It's cool. I just don't care about the console or the games on the console.
You don't care about the Virtual Boy?
I don't. I agree it deserved to be an abject commercial and financial failure. Oh, hot take, baby.
Done.
Hey, this is how
let me put this stuff away real quick.
It's just way too ahead of its time. It's just kind of how I see it. Not say it did stuff that's unique, but it's not the best experience that you could have on a console. At best, it was 15 years too soon. The technology just wasn't realistically there. Oh, as I burp a little bit into the microphone, unfortunately. And then before we move on to the next stuff, obviously you got some more Nintendo stuff. I want to wait till Brandon got back because I know he has this app that Nintendo just released. We're getting new Nintendo stuff, just nothing about the Switch 2, which is both awesome and frustrating at the same time. But
who, you?
No, just because we're getting stuff from Nintendo, it's just not the Switch 2.
Shout out to Palmer Froggy guy. They're in the chat on YouTube.
Oh, awesome. Appreciate it over there, man. But no, we got a new Nintendo music app. Have you had the chance to get a hold of this at all?
Boy, have I. I played it earlier. Yeah, so I listened to it in the gym today. Bangers running all the way through. No, it seriously has music pulled from everything, so it's like Spotify for Nintendo. And if you think about it this way: you've got well over 1,000 Nintendo games that all have dozens and dozens of tracks in the games. It actually makes sense. Like, it actually makes sense. I like to listen to video game music. I have video game vinyl. I've even got some video game tapes. And I think I like listening to video game music. I pulled up the Metroid playlist. I was like, my God, these songs are such a banger. I forgot how awesome these songs are. So yeah, I'll show real quick Nintendo music. So sorry for our audio listeners. You just have to tune into the video. But I downloaded it. I just want to
point out, because it was highlighted, that it says that the music app alters the fire temple theme from Ocarina of Time, essentially featuring a significantly rare version of the theme. I don't know if you had a chance to listen to that.
No, I'll pull it up now. But I mean, it's got everything. You like scroll through here. It's got a
lot of stuff.
Everything that you can think of. Yeah, and that's not all. But yeah. So you said the fire temple for Ocarina of Time.
Plus, it had a shortened 41-second version, because I believe that was the thing that had a lot of the controversy, because he used
there's controversy on that. There's controversy on this.
The original music for that?
Yeah.
Because it used an Islamic chant on the original that was eventually, pulled, essentially.
And that's in this app, or it's not in this app?
I don't know. It says it had a 41-second version of the Fire Temple that uses neither the original or the revised version. So I don't know exactly what that means.
I want to look it up now and see if I can...
it's just a whole new version of it or something like that?
I mean, okay, so yeah, I've got it pulled up now.
I guess you have to check it out for sure and like double check. Put like a snap. Version of your mic didn't capture nothing.
It's not capturing anything?
No, it's probably a good thing. But
nothing? I can hear it.
I can hear it. It sounds terrible, though. Not good quality.
Well, anyway, it sounds like I remember. Yeah, it's 41 seconds.
Yeah, but I mean, it's probably for the best. You don't want to catch copyright strike with music.
Yeah, you can do 7 seconds, though. We got 7 seconds.
Could you turn those into like ringtones or something like that?
I don't know. I haven't got to mess with it enough. Let's see. Add to favorites. You can download it. Add to playlist. More from this game. Q is next. I don't see a download thing. I mean, there's a download thing. I don't see a... What did you say? Ringtones?
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah, I don't think there's a ringtone thing. But I will say it's pretty cool. I mean, like, I can play 7 seconds, so it's okay. But... You know what that's from, right?
I mean, your voice just changed that robot voice, but it's not picking it up. I can't hear anything. It's not picking it up. You did have to download the app yourself and listen to it. It's not picking it up. And when it does, it sounds good.
That's the Academy music from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. That song is whether you like that game or not, that song is a banger. I listened to it 3 times today. Have you downloaded it yet, Mark?
No, not yet. But this and the next app that we're going to talk about, I intend to. And I know you have this next one, but
hold on real quick. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I forgot to showcase 2 things. 2 things I'm going to show off. The game EverDrive Game Gear X7. So this is from Crix. This is the EverDrive. Play the full game library on there. You can also play Master System games on it, which is really cool. And Sega SG-1000. And very relevant to that is the Master EverDrive X7, which is like the same thing as a Game Gear. They're 2 different consoles, but this can also play Game Gear games and again play Sega SG-1000 games. So I just wanted to showcase those. I pulled those. I forgot this morning to show.
Oh yeah, but this next Pokemon, the trading card game Pocket app that released on the 30th, like 2 days ago.
I've been playing it like crazy.
You sounded really low voice.
I've been playing it every day. I'm addicted.
Yeah, but in the first 48 hours, it has over 10 million downloads.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've seen
insanely popular.
My buddy sent me a message today. He's like, "How are you level 4 already?" And I'm like, "Dude, somebody added me to level 27. What are you talking about?" Because it's not easy to level up. You get 1 card pack a day. Unless you do the 2-week, you can do a 2-week gold pass trial for free where you get to open up 2 packs a day for free. But the thing is about the game is you don't just open 1 pack a day. Like you unlock all this bonus stuff that lets you be able to buy to unlock more packs so you can buy more time and it's free. Like you unlock all this stuff. So like, yes, you can put money into it, but you can also do it just as well without putting money into it. So depends on how quick you want to level up and unlock all the features. There's features that are locked behind levels, which I like because I want to be able to unlock them all. But you also get to battle people. You also get to trade with people, which is coming soon. You can't do it yet. I think it's really cool. I don't necessarily care about Pokemon cards all that much, but I think it's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, and then I don't know if you had the chance to, but starting today, November 1st, it started its first in-game event where players can earn a special Chansey or Meowth card in a Wonder Pick, which I'm sure they're going to have plenty of other events that are going to be happening here soon. So,
yeah, for sure.
If you don't have it, hop on it. I assume it's a free app to download. So,
yeah, definitely.
But on top of that, we had 2 more leaks come out as far as the Pokemon with that big Game Freak leak that happened like a week or 2 ago at this point. So data miners, as far as like the timeline for the first 5 generation games of Pokemon, Essentially goes kind of this way. Gen 1 and 3 are set during the what they call the original year. Gen 2 is set 3 years later. Gen 4, they say a little later than Gen 2. Gen 5 is supposed to be 10 years later than Gen 2. And then Gen 7 is 4 years later than Gen 5 is how
That is so
to
confusing.
some degree, this timeline's supposed to work.
That is so confusing.
And I believe Gen 6 is probably not on here because it's not in the same timeline. It's in its own. Well, I think we already knew that. It's a whole separate timeline. Because it's the only one that has the mega evolutions, I believe.
Yeah, mega evolutions.
Because Gen 6 has also the Gen 3 remakes and stuff like that, and they're supposed to be separate from the original Gen 3 and stuff like that. So it's supposed to be disconnected. That's why it's Gen 6 isn't technically on this list.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Or that's what the assumption. I don't know if it was not found, but we kind of knew because it's the only generation with mega evolutions, so it's just assumed it's its own separate timeline. It's not related and stuff like that.
Right.
Because even in the Gen 3 remakes, it kind of mentions that it's technically in a different timeline than the original Gen 3. If you remember those games for the ORAS games.
Yeah. Yeah.
It essentially references in the game. It's like it's similar but different. So it would make sense that it's not there. So if it actually matters to you, and I don't think honestly, I don't think it really matters all that much for the timeline because the games are kind of self-contained. I mean, it's a neat little thing to know about that Nintendo at least or Game Freak has had some level of alleged internal timeline stuff for their games.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
As well as we did get confirmed leaks that the Pokemon Z game was actually supposed to come out and it got canceled for Generation 6 with X and Y.
So it was supposed to happen.
Yeah, with 𝐁𝐿guard, which then later got pushed to Sun and Moon as like a non-major, legendary Pokemon.
Yeah.
So it was in development before it got axed for whatever reason, which I think we kind of had already known, but it's the fact that you're finally getting like leaked confirmation, like, yeah, this was a thing. And then it did, for whatever reason, they decided to pull the plug on it.
Pull the plug. Palmer Froggy Guy asks how you are, Mark.
I'm doing fantastic. I mean, I could use a nap, but what's new? Yeah. I could use a nap at like 10 a.m. this morning.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, and then I think they mentioned the 𝐁𝐿guard was supposed to have multiple forms, which I think some of them got cut or released later, something like that. I think he's got like 2 or 3 forms or something like that right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was supposed to be the original 3 or he was originally planned to have more, because they some degree mentioned they were supposed to have a big part to do with Z. Was 𝐁𝐿guard's a relatively important aspect of the plot of that game until it kind of got scrapped, and then it was a minor legendary in Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Nothing that's like super spoiler.
But there's more coming out. Just a heads up. We got a tweet yesterday that said more is coming. So
yeah, there's a lot of stuff leaked. It's gonna take a while. Plus, it's I mean, obviously we're expecting 𝐁𝐿guard to make an appearance in Pokemon ZA.
Oh, 100%.
But that's kind of that's kind of up in the air. But with it being Generation 6, it's kind of like an assumed thing. Maybe they're gonna ideally bring it back and have this Pokemon actually have more of an impact. But it's at this point, it's probably just gonna be weekly leaks as the people go and actually data mine the information and find some stuff. As long as they don't like leak stuff for like the new games coming up, I'll be fine with that.
Yeah, I don't want them doing that because they've already showed images and actual video of the game, which already pissed me off. I didn't like that at all. So I don't want to see any leaks. I'm sorry, I don't want to see any leaks.
Wholesale, not necessary.
Yeah.
But I guess we can get to the big game that just released with obviously there's a lot of controversy around the new Dragon Age game.
Oh God, here we go. Yeah, let's dive into this. I want to hear. I'm mostly intrigued on your thoughts because you know a little bit more than me. I've seen stuff, but I still don't understand the whole thing.
It has to deal with the fact. I'm trying to find the right one. There was some. I don't know if it was leak scenes. But one of the big ones that made the round on social, there's 2 big scenes that made the round on social media before the game actually came out, and it has to deal with there's a scene where a character essentially you want to say misgenders one of the other characters, and then she does push-ups and stuff like that. It's like almost like a 2-minute long scene, and it kind of comes off as kind of preachy, like forced preachy. This shouldn't be in the game type thing,
Right.
And then there's another scene where one of the characters, because this game allows you to come out as trans in this game, where you have to confront what like you or one of the characters confronts their parents, and it's like a whole scene of like, I'm coming out, and I was like, this just feels wholesale unnecessary, and in some aspects it feels kind of hand-holdy, preachy when it comes to like some of this gender ideology stuff, which definitely with a lot of people has really ringed a bell of like, what is this? Why is this even in the game at all? It doesn't add anything to the game, and it's just like, it's already like a fantasy world where there's magic. Like you can just make stuff be there and make it fit in the lore, and like, yeah, it exists. Moving on, we don't need to spend any time, other than being like, yeah, this is here. Treat it like a normal world, But everyone's gonna have their own opinion. I mean, some people love it, some people think it shouldn't be there at all, and then you go on X or on social media or anything like that, it's gonna be, a complete, crap show of people just fighting with each other like it always is.
Always.
I don't want to walk the fence on this one too much. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it should be in the game at all. But I think there's,
Hi,
at its
I'm
core,
Kylie, but you can pick a different character or change the language at athenalerts.ai
playing
if you
something.
want. We'll be handling your donation and subscription
I
alerts.
have no idea.
you're
what-
playing audio.
We can also just
Yeah, I
chill
don't
and
know
chat
why.
with you
Hold on.
while
You
you
need to-
stream.
Use voice activation, and I'll
Sorry about that,
spontaneously
guys. I have
react
no
to
idea
you.
what. Okay, I got it off. I don't know what
I
happened
don't
there.
know what that was.
I have no
Completely-
idea. Something popped up on the stream, and it was
Yeah.
like an AI character talking, and then it turned into Biden.
Yeah, probably more AI stuff. But there's like better ways that something like this could have been implemented, regardless of people not wanting it there at all. It
Yeah,
could have been
agree.
handled so much. It just felt like it was poorly written with this game. And obviously, it's the easiest thing to latch onto, and it's going to be massive drama. And like a lot of things on the internet, you're going to be mostly for it or against it. Obviously, there's some people that are in the middle. It's kind of up in the air as far as that goes. Let me pull back up, because I had this pulled up on Steam at one point before I had to swap it out. Where's it at? This game just launched. There you go.
Just a shout out. We have one follower to go to our goal of 120 followers. So if you haven't followed yet, or if you watch us later, go over there on the Twitch, give us a follow. It definitely helps. We're just one away from our goal. So
Yeah. And some of the other criticisms with the writing specifically, it feels like the legit criticism, because I've only played Origins. I didn't play 2. I didn't play Inquisition. I didn't really care to play Inquisition, to be fair.
I have it, but I haven't played
A lot of some of it feels like legit criticisms came with the fact that, oh, your decision in Inquisition doesn't matter. They're forcing you down one pipeline as far as how the story goes and stuff like that. So
yeah.
there was some stuff with that. I'll say this: it's sitting at a 77%. It's mostly positive out of 6,300 reviews on Steam. But I'll say this, and I think a 6 to a 7 seems to be like a decent rating for this game, because I've read people on here that have 7, 10, 15 hours. They left a positive review on it, technically, like they recommend the game, but they've got legit criticism. Like they actually played the game, they put time into it, but there's a lot of stuff they don't like it. Some people are saying, it feels like it's not the best Dragon Age, but it's not the worst. It just feels like a middle of the road writing. At time, the writing just doesn't feel good. It's lackluster. Or it's one of the better, at least from what some of the Steam reviews says, it's one of the better games gameplay wise, but the story feels extremely lackluster, or just like straight by the book type of story. It doesn't do anything unique. And it's on Steam, so you can see whether people played it, liked it. You can see how many hours they have on record and how many hours they had when they left a review.
Yeah.
So it kind of lets you know whether somebody actually played the game, put time into it as well. You can also see if somebody refunded the game as well, which is just nice to see. But I think I legit think this is higher, just because there's a lot of people that probably saw some of the stuff online and were just like, nope, not even going to buy the game. That probably would have bought the game, played it, and left a negative review, which would have affected like the Steam review and stuff like that.
Right.
Because I think the Metacritic is below 50%. Like it's far lower. But like on Steam, you have to have bought the game to actually leave a review. Or on some of these other platforms, you could technically leave a review without actually buying the product.
Right.
There's no way to hard verify it. Because that also brings up another thing with it, is this game just launched. And granted, this is only the Steam. This is not counting PlayStation or Xbox, but it has lackluster numbers from what you would expect a game like this to have. I think as of right now that we're recording this, it's sitting at about 59,000 players on a Friday night of its launch weekend.
Oh, wow.
Which is in contrast to where the Monster Hunter Wilds beta which is at 166,000. Drop off from where it was, but it's a weekend beta. But that's just a beta for a different game, and it's just dwarfing an actual launch title. Because I believe it had its peak concurrent players right around 70,000. 70 to 77,000 was where it had its Steam peak concurrent players earlier today, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Which isn't terrible, but it's for a game like this, you obviously want it to break 100,000.
Yeah, of course.
You're not gonna know where the Steam reviews are, but like opening weekend, you're gonna have best numbers just because we can see what's on Steam, and the fact that it's not doing what you would expect it to do means like, I think this game will come close to breaking even. I think the game will probably make money in the end. You count all platforms, but it's starting to look just off of some of these other numbers that it might not be. It might not make them as much money. It'll still be seen as a failure, even if it actually makes actual money.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting stuff. For
Because
sure.
I don't know what you've seen with some of this stuff. Obviously, there's a lot of controversy, and it has to deal, like, I'll be flat out. It deals with its gender ideology is like the defining factor that people are complaining about online. Shockingly, I know, but even the people that play the game and actually want to give it, that I've seen a decent review from actual players, not industry, not YouTubers, actual people that left reviews that you can see they played the game significant amount of time. Some people like it, some people don't. Some people, it just feels like it wants more, but it's not a perfect game.
Right.
Even without this controversial stuff, when it comes with the misgendering and the trans stuff, the game just feels like it's not as good as it should be from what I've seen. The writing just feels kind of bad at times, or kindergarten. Some people say it gets better as the game goes on, that I've seen on some reviews, but great, your first few hours are going to be your first impression. And that's without even going into some of the controversy with the character creator.
What's the whole deal with the character creator? Because I saw that pop up.
You can't have a big butt and you can't have big breasts. Like, let's just be fair. Those are the two defining factor that people are going to talk about.
Oh man, you gotta have the big butt.
And some people feel like some of the characters kind of look crazy, or they kind of look I don't want to say cartoony because I don't know, but it's some people love it. Some people say it leaves a lot to be desired. And that kind of comes down to
it reminds me of
what you
the
want out of a character.
Images of Silent Hill 2, the main character before.
Yeah,
like they made changes.
There's a lot of stuff online. You can see people had fun making terrible looking characters and stuff like that.
I mean, that's always fun.
I'm like, if you care, you can add I believe it's vitiligo to your character and stuff like that. So if you want that, that's great. I'm kind of indifferent to that, but it just seemed like if you want to be the obvious, what most people complain about is you can't have a big butt, and you can't have big breasts. Like, let's just be honest. That's really all the internet really cares about when it comes to like a character creator. Can I have big tits or not?
Wow.
But I mean, it's Baldur's Gate 3 is having like right at where it's at or better numbers at times, which is a game that's been out for a few years. And if you want to, I guess the better way to look at it is if you want to. Oh, hey. You freak me out every time. I just don't have anything on screen set up for the podcast, but.
Oh, you don't have it on screen?
Not for the podcast specifically. Sorry.
Oh, man.
It still pops up, and I know you use it. I'm sorry. But I mean, it's just one of those things where if you care about the whole DEI stuff and stuff like that, yes, it's obviously in Baldur's Gate 3, but that game actually knows how to properly write stuff into a game where it doesn't feel forced or preachy to you.
Yeah.
Like, it's trying to like this is how you need to do. Yeah, it's kind of stupid stuff like that. Which some people it matters, some people it doesn't. I think at the end of the day, it's just it had a lot of bad publicity. you had a lot of the Ubisoft stuff, the whole Sweet Baby stuff. Now people will have like a super fixed eye on certain things. And even if it's in like a small, like 1% of your game is this, that 1% is going to be hyper focused on, and it's going to make or break your game for a lot of people.
Right. Yeah. No, I get it.
Like,
I get that.
I was never going to play this game, but I never played Inquisition. So like, I don't really care about it, whether this game was good or
wasn't
not, 'cause I probably
Inquisition
wasn't gonna
supposed
play
to
it.
be the better one? Like the good one? Or was it?
I know a lot of people that liked Inquisition.
So I have Dragon Age 2.
I only have Dragon Age 1 on the 360, and it's the only Dragon Age I've played. I also have it on Steam as well.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think. I have Dragon Age 2. What else do I have?
And I'm trying to give this game a fair shake. I'm not trying to be
Dragon
super
Age
critical.
Awakening, I think it's called.
Awakening?
Is it called
Was that
Awakening?
one of the DLCs?
I have it. I'm thinking of the Xbox games I have. I think it's called Dragon Age New Awakening or something, or I could be wrong. Could be totally wrong.
No, it's that's part of Origins. I think it's the expansion to Origins.
Okay.
I've seen that before. Yeah, that's what I thought.
But yeah, I have Dragon Age Origins. I
But I mean,
they're not my type of games, if I'm being real with you.
yeah, I just think at its core, from what I've seen, it has a lot of problems with just AAA industry as a whole. Has a lot of problems. Now, obviously, if you care about the DEI stuff and that's like a super big issue, that's going to be like the one thing that turns you off. And,
Yeah,
you know,
for
fair
sure.
enough. Everyone has like a, you know, if you don't like stuff in a game, then, you know, don't play it, don't buy it. That's your right as a consumer. If you don't, sorry, I'm stuttering over my words for a second.
You're
If there's
good.
something you don't like in a game, don't buy it. You speak with your wallet, essentially.
Yes, always speak with your wallet for sure.
But it just feels like it just falls on the other issues of there's more than just DEI in this game. It's just kind of has problems with the writing as a whole. A lot of other games.
I agree. I agree for sure.
I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of a turn off to me, but like that wasn't why I wasn't gonna buy this game in the first place. I was gonna buy it because Dragon Age isn't like a big IP and stuff like that. But I mean, it does have concerns for me with BioWare as far as their next Mass Effect game,
Yeah,
because these games are known for their writing, and even with that stuff in there's a proper way to write a game. You can have stuff in a game that's irritating, but the story is still well written and well received. What's gonna be the next game? I do know they kind of came out, I believe, and said that there's. I gotta double check. I thought I saved the link for. Oh yeah, there it is. I didn't bring it up. There you are. So essentially, there's like a small win for this, if you want to call it that. There's no post-launch DLC plan for this game.
Yeah.
Essentially, they're going straight. Hey, appreciate it, Great Gamer Freak, with the 22 bits. They're going to go
nice.
straight into the next Mass Effect game. So there's one small thing. All the content's there at launch, which I think should be a thing across the board. DLC, for the most part, shouldn't be a thing. Like, just put all the game in at launch. But I don't know if that was them just kind of hedging their bets ahead of time of like, we're just going to nix this now and not deal with it. And then,
I don't know. It's a tough thing to speak on. Because it's like, I really don't know, honestly.
I mean, if you're a Dragon Age fan, you've been waiting 10 years for this because Inquisition came out in 2014.
And I am hearing from non-critics that people like the game. So, I mean...
Even from those, but there's still obvious for people that actually give the game a decent shot, there's still problems with the writing. Like, it's one of the weakest parts of the game.
The writing itself?
Whatever you want to say about some of the character designs, the visual design and stuff like that, and the combat, it just feels like the writing, which should be BioWare's strength, isn't their strength this time.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know, man.
I appreciate the 69 nice bits from Gamer Freak.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
You were asking for. I don't know if you were here before. We definitely talked about some Godzilla stuff. I know you talked about it earlier in the podcast.
Yeah, we were talking Godzilla earlier, so definitely rewind the podcast when you're done.
You get the chance to rewind for sure.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, so
I know there were people talking about because what's it? Morgan, I think is her name.
Morgan,
to some degree, it feels like
from
she got like
Deathstalkers.
No, from Dragon Age.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Morrigan from Deathstalkers. You sent
No, I
me
think
some sexy thing of Morrigan the other day on Twitter. You used to
if
tag
you look
it.
at her design in Origins and look at her design in this one, she looks like a completely different person. She doesn't look the same.
Yeah, that's never good.
But I think it's a bigger indication where people are just far more hesitant to buy AAA games at launch because they're starting to get burned on some bad games.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are waiting, and they see something they don't like, they're not going to buy it. And it's not good for the AAA industry because you generally make most of your money like the first week to like the first month of the game launch. When it first comes out, that's going to make or break whether or not it's a successful game.
For sure. Yeah.
100%, this is going to be on Game of the Years, regardless if it fails financially between now and December. This is going to make the top 5 Game of the Year awards games.
Yeah.
It's going to make Game of the Year on the Game Awards, the big one that we generally watch. As much as I don't think if it's a financial failure, it shouldn't make it.
No, I agree.
Wouldn't surprise me. Appreciate Gamer Freak gifting 1 tier sub to the community. Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I ended up gifting 1 sub to Mr. Coffee, so definitely appreciate everyone's support.
I gifted a sub to Mr. Coffee.
Yeah, I don't know if you had anything more you want to talk about. I know the podcast is we had a lot to talk about today already, but
I mean, we didn't get through everything, did we?
we got through. There's like one more thing after this Dragon Age stuff.
Yeah, we'll get and dive into that real quick.
But for a game I don't plan on playing, I don't have a whole lot more to say about it, other than the big stuff. If you want to know more about it, for sure, just because it's not the setup for this, whether it's on Extra on YouTube, you can definitely find some of the clips that people are talking about as far as the misgendering scene and the coming out as trans to your parents and stuff like that. But the game's already out, so you're probably better off watching some live stream. I know Asmongold said as much as he is probably not going to like the game, he was going to live stream and stuff like that. And there's probably a lot of other streamers that are going to play it for content, and then maybe they might change their opinions from before it came out and stuff like that. Or you can go to other proper YouTube drama channels that'll just absolutely dog crap on the game.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because there are a few that I know that I follow that do, and they're kind of funny about it, at least to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Got 4 more bits from Gamer Freak. Definitely appreciate it. Just want to support my favorite podcast. Well, we definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. We appreciate that support. A lot. Yeah, so I guess Ghostface. We're talking about Ghostface.
Yeah, I know it's the last big thing on there.
Yeah, so Ghostface is coming to Mortal Kombat 1. Not a complete surprise, but it is interesting that they picked that particular character. I think it's cool. I think Ghostface is a cool character. I'm interested to see how he is in combat, though, because Ghostface is really just a person, behind a mask. So
have you? How recently ago did you play Mortal Kombat 1?
I haven't even picked it up yet. I've been waiting to find it for like $20 because it's here's the problem. Switch version's terrible. That's fine. I played it on PS5, but I haven't seen it for any less than $50 yet. And I'm like, look, I love fighting games, but this game is universally not loved. It's not among the top 5 Mortal Kombat games. So I already know it's not like an amazing game, but I still want to play it. So I'm waiting to find it for like $20. So I'm hoping Black Friday I find it. And the one I regret not getting at launch is Super Street Fighter 6. I mean, not Super Street Fighter 6. I still got to get that. Haven't seen that drop down at all yet. So my hope is Black Friday I can finally pick up both of those as well as the new Tekken. So, because I'm on my fighting game phase right now. I'm getting back in the fighters again after Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. I played a couple of rounds of that without you, and the game is just it's beautiful. It's the Dragon Ball lore, everything that happens in it. The fact that there are like 20 characters that all have a story mode, so you can play the game forever. They all have their own story mode. Like Goku Black even has his story mode from Dragon Ball Super. So like, it's crazy. There's so much to the game. It's not just a fighting game by any means. And it's not a traditional fighting game at that, but yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm surprised they missed the opportunity to have this character come out, in October instead of like early access. You get this character on the November 19th, and Everybody else gets it on the 26th. Seems like a missed opportunity to have it come out for Halloween.
Yeah, kind of is, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if there's other things. I did pull something else up just because I tagged doing it, but I forgot to bring in the notes. There was a game and it looks absurd. I think I shared it on social. I tagged you. I know I reshared it on the Anime Junction cast on X, but it's like an absurd Japanese game because it starts off with like some character like stomping the crap out of some other character's head. Totally brutal. Apparently, this new game is. I shared it out. I tagged you, and then it's on the Anime Junction cast because I reshared the actual trailer for it. It's a game called Showa American Story. Essentially, it's supposed to be a love letter to the 80s pop culture. And this was written up by Grums on X. But
is it the Sweet Baby Inc. partners with the PAL group, or is it something different?
What do you mean?
I'm looking at what you tagged me in.
I also just reshared it recently, so you can refine it there. But based off his definition, it's a alternate timeline where Japan conquers the USA and makes it a colony. There are zombies, and the president watches anime at precisely 6:30 p.m. every day and must not be disturbed. Take a game that you think the Japanese would think of America and push it to the extreme, and that's exactly what this game looks like.
Wow, yeah, that looks
and
interesting,
extreme, and it looks amazing.
It looks crazy.
It doesn't have a release date via the Steam page for it. The release date's to be announced. The developer is Netcom Entertainment and is being published by 2P Games.
Wow, okay, that looks really cool.
An amazing Japanese type game. Yeah, it looks like they've only had one other game, Dying Reborn, in 2018.
Interesting.
At least via Steam. But I mean, I saw this game and it just looks. It's like that Japanese sense of humor. It's extremely insane, and it just looks real fun.
Yeah, it really does, for sure. For sure.
I think this was announced fairly recently. I think it may have been announced this week or here recently, but it looks absolutely amazing. You know, like, oh yeah, I want to play this game when it comes out.
Oh, it definitely does.
At the very least, you got me with the amount of brutality that it has in this game.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm all for it. I just want to say, Atari just announced an Atari Jaguar freaking hoodie. I absolutely have to get it. I'm just saying. Sorry, I had to mention. They got a T-shirt too, $30. They got a hat too. Atari, why you do this to me? I'm gonna have to get that. Have to get that. I love the Jaguar. Yeah. That is so cool.
And I guess just to clarify, because this is supposed to be like a Japanese conquering America, but apparently Netcom is a Chinese game studio. So I don't know what's going over in China, but they're making some insane games here recently.
Sounds like it.
China's making a Japanese style game, which is already insane.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I definitely check it out if you're up that kind of alley. I guess we'll be going for about 2.5 hours now, or just a little over. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to bring up before we kind of head it out.
No, I think we're pretty much good. Do we have any comments to hit?
I think we got most of the stuff. Got some other stuff. Gamer Freaks reminding Mr. Coffee to renew his membership next month. He said, of course, certain characters have special, specific grapple to replicate the anime and stuff like that. I don't know if that's from what we just talked about or from the other Mortal Kombat game, because I missed when it got published. The boys said they need to reach their goal, dude. Let's get them to their goal. Hello.
Heck yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I think we all got to renew and stuff like that. Mr. Coffee just putting some other stuff.
I think I've even got a membership on there on my regular Twitch profile to Game Junction.
Yeah.
I think you do too, right?
Yeah, it just happened before we headed out. I was like, let me double check X real quick, see if anything kind of posted. I was like, oh, I forgot about that. Plus, on top of that, I'm still waiting on the Dead Alive Extreme Venus Vacation Prism to come out.
Oh, yeah, I want to play that.
Because I don't know if that was actually coming out in the US or it was like a...
Well, I can tell you this. I had to import the PS4 game that never came out here. I know that.
If I have to import that game, I'm going to 100% import that game.
Do it. I dare you.
I finally got around to getting the 360 for Dead or Alive Extreme.
There you go.
Attractive women in bikinis. You had me.
You had me. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate everybody watching, listening, wherever you're at. Be sure to check us out on all the audio podcast platforms: Apple, Spotify, Podchaser, Pocket Casts, all that stuff. We're on all of them. We're on 28 plus. And then also be sure to go over and subscribe to the Junction Network channel, where we have the Anime Junction Cast, and we have that every single week. We also have, we're going to be doing special stuff there. We just did a live episode. I'm sure me and Mark will come up with some other extra fun things to do that's not just a once a week podcast, because that does get kind of monotonous.
And then I guess we forgot to shout out at the beginning, but this Sunday, I'm trying to do this consistently, but Sunday noon Eastern, I'll be doing a live stream on top of what we're doing on Saturdays as well. So just want to like put that out there. Need to push that on the socials.
Yeah, so we've got our live streams every Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then Mark is going to start streaming on Sundays too. So yeah,
just the only the weekends I can make work consistently. The weekdays, it's kind of up in the air what days I'm free and what days I'm busy.
Right. Yeah. Understandable for sure.
I meant to put that early on. I just kind of forgot to publish that out at the beginning, but
yeah. So we got a lot of stuff coming. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then we hope to see you all soon. Be sure to leave reviews, 5 stars, whatever, on the different audio platforms. And then if you are an audio listener, head on over to youtube.com/@GameJunctionMedia to get kind of the full in-depth of everything that we do, our videos, our shorts, and of course watching the video podcast, which is our bread and butter. So we appreciate all of you, and we'll see you all next week. Have a great week, everybody.